The Noles at 0-3 in the league for the first time ever. The Heels at a surprising 0-2. Both teams looking to get in the win column tonight here in Chapel Hill. Erin Andrews has Coach Bowden on the sidelines.
Thanks, Chris. Coach, your team has had a bye week since the loss to Georgia Tech. What did you have them refocus on that you could apply to tonight's game?
Well, we gave them a couple of days off, which they probably needed. They probably needed some rest, you know, and then just get on the next game and concentrate, work out ways to win.
A bright spot for your team this year has been the offense. What is key for them in tonight's game, going against the best defense in your conference?
Well, we've got to execute. If you don't, you play into their hands. Defensively, we got to stop the long play.
All right, Coach. Thanks for your time. Chris.
Aaron, thank you. That has been the real problem. They've given up so many big plays. Butch Davis in his third year knows all about the Noles. He faced Florida State in the glory years when he was in Miami, but likes his chances better tonight. Florida State did win the toss, deferred to the second half, so the Heels will get the football first. And Dustin Hopkins, an excellent kicker, got a good leg, often reaches the end zone. We'll try to keep it away from Greg Little and Johnny White. It's a low kick. Bouncing just out the pylon, so they avoid the penalty. It's a touchback, and the Tar Heels will start at the 20-yard line. And we talked about T.J. Yates struggled a bit after an excellent sophomore season. A few more interceptions this year.
Well, he was the most efficient passer in the ACC last year, but there have been a lot of injuries this season on offense. A lot of new guys playing wide receiver. He struggled a little bit so far in this first half.
Don't you think, though, that at some point a quarterback who has the experience of Yates has to step up regardless of the line, regardless of the receivers, and make a play?
It's been a frustrating season in the two ACC games. These Tar Heels have totaled 17 first downs against Georgia Tech and Virginia. That's it. See the tight end Pianalto in motion. They're happy to have him back tonight. He's a weapon for Yates, and they fire downfield. It's incomplete, intended for Little. The impact players.
Sean Drone used to play safety, but he's now a running back, and he's got great quicks. He can take it the distance, someone Florida State has to watch out for on defense.
And a real safety cushion for the quarterback Yates is Zach Pianalto, a late addition, right at game time decision. Big to have him tonight.
Robert Quinn, the sack master, a great personal story that we'll get into. 270 pounds, runs a 4.5 40. On 2nd and 10, they hand it to Drone, who kind of weaves through the middle for about 7. Butch Davis was saddled with probation when he was the head coach of Miami, and he went 1-5 against Bowden's Noles when they had it going in the 90s.
Speaking with Butch on the field before the game, he is intense. I've known him a long time, and tonight you could sense this game's big to him.
Is it as wound up as you've seen him?
Absolutely. In pregame, he was ready to go. Said he wished he could play in this one.
This offense has struggled mightily on 3rd down. They need 3 yards here. They hand it to Drone, and he busts ahead for a first down. It's a good early sign for the Heels.
Well, the Heels come in tonight with some new guys playing up front, but they get a great push here on 3rd down. Nice play call by John Shoup, the offensive coordinator.
It has been a patchwork offensive line. Their starting center, Lowell Dyer, is still out, but they get back number 64, the excellent left guard, Jonathan Cooper. Usually do their best running to the left side, wouldn't you say?
Yes, they do.
Yates in a shotgun on 1st down. Excellent protection. He drops it off to Little. Little on a crossing route near midfield. It's another first down for the junior converted running back. Forced out by Jamie Robinson.
Chris, following up on what you're talking about, that offensive line, when they give protection in time to Yates, the receiving core, they've been open, just hadn't had a chance to get the ball.
Well, and this is what you do as a play caller. When you have that patchwork offensive line, like Chris mentioned earlier, quick passes, get the football out of your quarterback's hands so you can create a rhythm on offense.
And this man over here on the right side of the formation, number 17, Zach Pianalto, is a difference maker at tight end. He comes in motion. He's been injured since the Connecticut game. Again, picks his way, throws a shoulder at a defender, gets about 4 yards. Nigel Bradham forced him out. Mickey Andrews, one of the all-time great defensive coordinators. 26th season here, it'll be his final.
Well, we talked about the injuries for North Carolina on offense. This Florida State defense has been decimated by injuries at different positions. This is uncharted territory for Mickey Andrews.
But again, excuses they've talked about. This is middle season. They've got good athletes at Florida State. Now it's time for somebody in that secondary and the linebacker level that have been getting walloped with big plays to step up.
Mickey's a proud man, and he is embarrassed about the this season. You can understand why. Play action. Yates fires incomplete and almost intercepted. Corey Mangum, the Rover, was in the neighborhood as the ball bounced off the hands of the fullback Devin Ramsey.
You see what John Shoop is trying to do on offense. He's trying to move the pocket and get TJ Yates on the outside, get him away from that pass rush from Florida State.
And you've seen this before because you quarterbacked against Mickey Andrews. 8 men came that time.
Was this dude wound up before the game?
It was unbelievable. Yelling in TJ Yates' face on every throw, giving him high fives.
He kind of falls into Jim Levitt's league, doesn't he?
Man,
3-game high.
He's worked up former Chicago Bears offensive coordinator when he was a ripe old age of 30. 3rd and 6, Yates over the middle. The catch is made. Little. Stiff arm, throws a defender to the ground and has a first down at the Noles 38. Greg Reed, the true freshman, got welcomed to college football there.
Jesse, if the defense is going to give you a different look, you know, they better get to you, right? You're going to watch them dropping out of here, and a lot of crossing going on in there, right? See them drop out in there? Now, who's going to cover underneath?
That's right. Well, you know what I love? Getting Greg Little the football in space. Here's a guy that used to play running back last season. 6'3", 215. You see the physicality that he brings to the field.
We saw it for the Noles defense as a timeout is taken by Florida State. Patrick Robinson, who's their best corner, limping off. He was the guy that was questionable for tonight's game with an ankle problem. We'll detail the bad up Florida State defense. I mean, injuries everywhere. Look who's back at his alma mater. One of the most feared forces in football history. Talked to LT last night. Said he hadn't been back in decades here. Played for Dick Crum. There was a disagreement. He stayed away for a long time, got the invite, and decided this was going to be the night to come back and watch the Heels. 1980 unanimous All-American. Really changed defensive football. There's a handoff to Ryan Houston. He's usually the short yardage specialist. They bring him in inside the 10-yard line at 245 pounds.
You know, back to LT last night. I didn't even want to go up and say hi to him at the restaurant. Last time I saw LT. Absolutely, man. He made the first tackle on me in the NFL. 12 yards down the field. He hits me in my thigh, gave me a thigh bruise.
It used to be that you could block outside linebackers with tight ends and running backs until that guy joined the NFL. It's changed ever since.
He was the first guy to tackle you in an NFL.
Absolutely, yeah.
Throw the ball. Rome looking downfield into traffic. Little grabs it out at the 5. So the senior fullback, Bobby Rome, 31 yards to Greg Little. They find a way with a gadget to get a big play.
How often do you see a tailback from back in the backfield get the ball, not hit the line of scrimmage, have the time to throw the football down the field?
John Shoop talked about these throws up to these wide receivers. There's no such thing as a 50-50 ball. It's ours or it's nobody's. Greg Little showing strong hands at the high point.
Yeah, 6'3", over 6 foot. 1st and goal. There is Ryan Houston. And they tailback. They fake it to him, and this is Little on the end around with a wall of blockers and a dive to the end zone. A rough start for Andrews' defense, an 80-yard touchdown drive in less than 3 minutes for the Heels.
What a statement by the North Carolina Tar Heels. That is only their 4th first-quarter touchdown on the season. Great way to start this game.
And John Shoop, nice job of mixing up the play calling. There was a trick pass. Casey Barth boots the extra point. So Ponder and that high-powered Noles offense will go to work, but already down 7-0. What a first drive for Greg Little.
I can assure you Mickey Andrews doesn't have a design of a play on defense where they all bunch up in the middle of the field.
Carolina currently one of the best all-around athletic programs in college football, and you've talked about the greats who have been here. LT, a smile after the opening drive. And how about Julius Peppers, who for another generation was almost equally as dominant?
You know, Craig, you talked about you played against Lawrence Taylor. I played against that guy. I think he sacked me 3 times over the course. He sacked me on a 3-step drop once. I couldn't believe it.
Look at that look. He's still thinking about you.
He's staring at me. Getting freaked out up
They've
there.
had some great ones over the years. And a great start. You saw Little, 3 catches, and then the touchdown run, 58 of the 80 yards in that opening drive. Lewis Gibbons, Greg Reed, talented true freshman returner back. This is Gibbons. That is 2. Gets the corner and turns it up. Noles have been able to create some big plays in the return game this season.
Kind of give you a feel for what we're watching here. Most of the time when you see a pass from backfield, you've got a toss, sweep, or something to get the backer or passer away from the line of scrimmage. Go get him. Go tackle. Hit the guy. How often have you seen a running back or receiver throw a ball down the field that close to the line of scrimmage without getting hit in the mouth?
When you see Ryan Houston line up at tailback, everybody assumes he's getting the football, but a little trickeration again from John Shoop, using the end around to their big wide receiver.
And now Ponder and this explosive offense go to work from their 25. High snap. Throws off the timing of the play, and Lonnie Pryor, the true freshman, struggles for just a couple of yards. 197 pass attempts without an interception for Ponder.
He threw 14 interceptions last season. Everybody said that this year offensively would be determined by the decision-making of Christian Ponder. He's played so much more intelligently, Craig. Makes great decisions.
I asked Jimbo, I said, Jimbo, the offensive coordinator, have you simplified for him? He goes, no. He's just, the light came on. He figured it out. I can't give this young man enough.
He's a super bright student as well. Very impressive in the classroom, as you see Fisher, who calls the plays. Here's a reverse. Jermaine Thomas handed it off, and there's trouble as the heels are swarming. Juan Sturdivant, the middle linebacker, the leader, joined by Kendrick Burney, who came off the corner. They lose 10.
We just showed you the pass from North Carolina's offense where the linebacker didn't attack the ball carrier. Watch this time here as the reverse occurs, Jesse, how the linebackers attack in the backfield.
How about that speed you're talking about? Jimbo Fisher said this UNC defense reminds him of an SEC defense. Big guys that can run.
And now, on 3rd and 18, Ponder will have to throw into the teeth of the top-rated pass defense in the country. He's got 4 receivers. Fires far side to Easterling. Taiwan Easterling, did you hear the hit? Denoris Searcy denied him, and a 3-and-out for the Noles, and that's a very ominous sign. And they scored touchdowns on the opening drive. They did it against Miami, BYU, the Yellow Jackets. Big nights when they punt in their first possession. Jacksonville State, USF, BC. Bad nights on offense.
The psychology sometimes of having a great first drive and what that means to the rest of your team.
Sean Powell just able to get it away. Not a very good punt, but it takes a nice roll. Neal's second possession will start from the 25-yard line after the 52-yard punt. Primetime, Texas, with Colt McCoy, who says his thumb is okay. On the road against the Tigers in Columbia. It's been a beatdown last year down in Austin.
You know, we had Missouri a couple Thursdays ago,
Yep.
and they fell apart in the fourth quarter against Nebraska. So you wonder, really, can Blaine Gabbert, who had a bad ankle in that game, recover enough to match McCoy's performance?
See this right here. Blaine Gabbert hadn't thrown an interception yet, but 2 games ago. He's thrown 5 now in the last 2 games. Texas, 19 takeaways on the season. Watch out.
Gabbert's been limping around. He says he's good to go with that ankle that was injured when Ndamukong Suh tackled him in that Thursday night game. On first down, Yates chased, gets away. Little shovel pass to Little, but this time they're all over number 8. No gain.
You know, it's
Nick
really,
Moody ran him down.
It's really interesting. We talked to John Shoop, the offensive coordinator, this week and asked him the keys to success offensively. He said we got to score on big plays. With all the injuries we've had, we can't afford to go 10, 12 plays down the field and score. But Craig, that's exactly what they just did on that first drive.
Well, they did it with a little trickeration, too. They got the big play from it. It doesn't matter how you get it, as long as you get an explosive play. And Florida State's defense has been giving up explosive plays this year.
And how? Some incredible, ugly stats on the Noles defensive side. They hand it off to Jerome. Good pursuit, and it's a loss. When you look at the stats and you see the Noles give up 18.8 yards per completion to their opponents, that's last in the country by 3.7 yards. That's astounding.
They're giving up 6.9 yards per play, which is 6th worst in all of college football. That is unheard of from a Mickey Andrews coach squad.
They're just making mistakes. There was a very nice defensive play right there. They played their assignments. They were in lanes. Their gaps were there. But these big plays are the results of bunching up, like the touchdown run. Everybody's in the middle of the field, nobody outside.
They've also allowed a lot of third down conversions. The Heels need 10. They move the pocket for Yates. Just throw it away. So good coverage that time and some pressure, which has been rare this year from a defensive end, Kevin McNeil.
And the key was they got pressure with only 3 guys. And TJ Yates wanted to go downfield. He had Jerani Boyd working on the sidelines, but great job covering in the back end because they had 8 players in coverage.
So Grant Shalleck on to punt. Pressure. No flag. And a fair catch made by Greg Reed. 44 yards on the punt. Here's the second possession now for Christian Ponder after a 3-and-out the first time. 7-zip Heels. Welcome back. Noles take over down 7-zip as the Heels win 80 yards in their opening possession. 55 years in coaching and a month unlike any other for Bobby Bowden before the Georgia Tech game a couple of weeks ago. The show of unity was the idea of Dakota Watson, defensive captain. They did it at a bowl, or the ACC championship game, I should say, against the Hokies a few years ago. Walked out. It was a wild shootout. Tech was able to prevail to drop Florida State to 2-4. From the 31, Ponder back to throw. Delivers a dart, completion, and keeping his feet and struggling for about 10 yards is Rod Owens, the senior.
You know, Christian Ponder is coming off of a career-high game against Georgia Tech where he threw for 359 yards and 5 touchdowns, both career highs. This guy has been automatic the last couple weeks. You've just seen him progress.
And he's got 4 receivers in the 25 to 30 reception range. So he's spreading the football around. He's not one-handed. He's seeing the secondary, making the right decisions.
And those 5 touchdowns against Tech were to 5 different receivers. So, on first down. In the pistol formation, it's a strike across the middle of the field. Rod Owens. Active early, and he's into Carolina territory at the 35, 24-yard pickup. There have been many games like that against this pass defense.
Watch the foot fault right here. The foot fault allows the separation, the bolt to the inside, and the delivery of the ball.
He was wide open, Craig, and I love the conviction on the throw from Christian Ponder. He does such a good job of understanding post-snap where he's going with the football.
Again, in total defense, this Carolina team behind only Alabama and Florida. In the offset I formation, they fake it to Thomas and fire back far side. There's a blocker for Burt Reed. He gets about 7. Sports Center right now with Reese Davis. Let's check in with the studio.
All right, Chris, Oakland Raiders coach Tom Cable will not face charges after being investigated on allegations that he punched out one of his assistant coaches. No charges against Cable. Sports Center coming up after the game. Stay current with the ESPN News, and we give you current with the American League Championship Series. Yankees in command of the series 3-1. Angels scored 4 runs before A.J. Burnett recorded an out. It's 4-0 in the second.
Grace, thank you. Are things ever copacetic in the Raider Nation?
No.
There's a throw and a hit. They rule it a completion. The ball picked up, and the Heels have a turnover as Denoris Searcy recovered the ball. They ruled it on the field, a completion and a fumble. Kendrick Burney delivering the blow. Let's check out whether he had possession now.
I don't think he did. Real time up here, it didn't look like that the receiver had possession. Just turned. I don't know.
He has to make a football move with the ball in his possession. I don't know if he did that there. What about the speed from Kendrick Burney, how he came up on this play?
Burt Reed has it, turns, and then the shoulder pad right on the football by Burney.
That's all on Rod Owens, number 86, not making the block out there. It's a difficult block to make, but you've got to keep the initial defender off the receiver.
Here comes the review.
Is under further review.
Has to be sufficient video evidence to overturn the call on the field. The call on the field is Carolina football at the Florida State 49. We'll take a break while they take another look. Butch Davis heads it off lobbying during the timeout. The review continues. Another look. Again, the ruling was that Burt Reed caught the ball, had it long enough before Kendrick Burney got there and knocked it loose.
Remember, the ruling on the field was complete, then fumble. You need conclusive evidence to overturn this. The question is, Craig, do you see anything here?
I just don't think, even as the receiver's turning, the ball really is not firmly tucked.
You don't think so?
I don't know.
I think he pins it against his chest. It's a catch that way, but I agree with you. I mean, he doesn't ever get it tucked away, but to me, it kind of looked like he did have possession.
You see Burney jump up and celebrate the big hit, and Butch Davis pointing to the football. Take it up and run with it. He saw what the ruling was, and Denoris Searcy, the guy who's replacing the second-team All-American Tremaine Goddard, who's now in the NFL, is the one that scooped up the ball.
Either way right now, watching this UNC defense, they look very fast. They are running sideline to sideline, playing very aggressive. You can see why this team came into tonight's game with so many big accolades statistically.
They did, but I think that we all agree that this was going to be a big test for them. They haven't exactly faced a murderer's row of passers. They gave up 24 to Georgia Tech, most of it on the ground, lost that game. They faced, what, Virginia, East Carolina, a couple one-double-A teams.
But you get a feeling at this point, midpoint in the season, that when you're on the field and you see the speed of the players on the field, you know they can play.
Here comes this crucial verdict.
After further review, the receiver did not possess the pass. It is an incomplete pass. It will be 3rd down and 4 from the 29-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 6:02.
So a huge break for Bowden's team. They retain possession, avoid the turnover that would have given the Heels the ball at midfield, and now it's 3rd and 4.
Yeah, I've been here at the 31-yard line. You know, you're wondering, where are they in the range of the kicker, and you know the mindset.
Yeah, this is in Hopkins' range, but it's not a comfortable range. And they're thinking 7 right here in this possession.
That's my point.
Let's see how the Heels defense responds after thinking they come up with a turnover. The crowd all wearing powder blue, even though the team is in the new look all navy tonight.
You don't think the crowd got the memo?
It was a surprise. They didn't know when they showed up the team was going to look like this. And a flag. Heels are pointing to the offense. It'll be a false start.
Boy, boy.
3rd and 9 now.
False start. Offense. Number 83. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
What is a receiver doing with a false start? Come on, that's Reed who just dodged the fumble there.
2 weeks in a row we've seen this. Remember last week, USF Cincinnati, a bunch of receivers jumping early. But 2 things wrong with that. One, 3rd and 4 is much different than 3rd and 9 to an offensive play caller. Secondly, like you mentioned, Craig, now you're out of field goal range.
Heels with 3 down linemen show some pressure. Ponder pulls it down. Shows his ability, but he can't get away. Stopped short of the 1st down by Bruce Carter, the 3-year starter at strong linebacker.
Really hard to take off and run against a 3-man rush. You've got 5 at that next level, and they're up there hugging you. One guy who drops a linebacker will have a spy technique on the quarterback.
Craig, we talked about Bruce Carter and that speed. He's a sub-4.5 guy playing linebacker. So Christian Ponder makes a miss. He catches up pretty quick.
Without the penalty, that may be a 1st down. You see right there, Jesse, you talked to the difference of 3rd and 9. A lot tougher to pick up against a fast defense. So only 2 for 6 beyond 40 yards is the true freshman Dustin Hopkins. And this is from 48. Got the length. And right down the middle. So the true freshman turns around this trend and makes it from 48. The Noles get 3 out of the drive after thinking perhaps they were going to turn it over to that replay review.
Don't you always wonder about kickers under Bobby Bowden with the history? You can never feel comfortable.
I worry about kickers under any coach,
especially at this level.
Any level.
They've had a few. Graham Gano, Janikowski, of course, but there have been so many infamous kicking episodes in the Bowden career.
How many times have we heard or seen that expression from Coach Bowden? Can you believe that ball wide left?
That'll be good for Hopkins' confidence. Knocked it straight through.
How about this guy on kickoffs right now? Here's a team coming in. 38% of his kickoffs went for touchbacks. He's got a great leg, and because of that, the opponent's average starting field position has been their own 27-yard line. This has been a big area of advantage for Florida State because of this true freshman kicker.
He had some troubles with the simplest duty. He missed 4 extra points in the first couple of games. People were wondering what's going on here. He's cleaned it up last few.
That's why Craig said you always worry about kickers under any coach.
And they weren't blocked or anything. It was just left, right, left, right. Another low boot from Hopkins. Taken on the hop by Little. He plows to the 27. Well, here's one of the comments from Bobby Bowden answering his critics in recent weeks.
My problem is age. If I was 50, nobody would be saying a word, you know, as far as that's concerned. But at 79, he's too old. Every time, that's what I found out when I first started, you know, it's always this way. Yeah, but what have you done lately? What have you done lately? You know, what you used to do, that don't count. And I know it's that way, and I'm ready for it. You know, I know it's going to be that way.
He'll turn 80 in November. Do you agree with that it's just about the age? And
yeah, you know what, some of that, but a lot of people are evaluating what he's doing today.
Drone a short gain as Reese has an update for us. Reese?
Well, Chris, Bobby Bowden's son is back on the sidelines. Head coach at North Alabama, #1 in the nation in Division II, taking on Valdosta State. Terry Bowden has 26 Football Bowl subdivision transfers. A couple of them hook up. Harrison Beck, the former North Carolina State quarterback, to Wes Holland, the former Navy player, and the Lions of UNA on top 7-0.
It's a good story. 10 years away from coaching for Terry. Remember when he went to Auburn, they won a bunch of games to start his career, about 20 of them. Yates flushed out and rolls out of bounds. Marcus White forced him. Terry was instrumental in kind of talking to his father about the idea of the coach in waiting and kind of brokering the idea to Jimbo Fisher, I'm told, which is interesting.
You know, and congratulations to Terry. You know, he's doing a great job at North Alabama. This family's been through a lot. As Coach Bowden said this week, you know, all my boys have been through this. It's a tough time. You got to stay the course.
Bobby wants to listen on the headsets now as the Noles defense tries to get off the field on 3rd and 6. Yates delivers another crossing route. A tackle made short of the first down marker by Greg Reed. Eric Highsmith caught the ball. True freshman on true freshman. It'll be 4th down.
Don't you see the defense starting to pick up a little bit better now?
Yeah, and you know, we talked to Mickey Andrews, the defensive coordinator at Florida State, and he said he thought pressure at times rattles TJ Yates, so he dials it up on 3rd down, and a nice job by the secondary at Florida State playing downhill, allowing the catch, but immediately making the tackle.
So the Heels will punt the second straight 3 and out following the 80-yard 10-play touchdown drive to open the game. Shalleck, pretty good boot. And Reed, who just made the tackle to force the punt, calls a fair catch at the 26. 44 yards. Applebee's weekend menu. College Game Day is going to Provo, Utah for the first time to highlight the showdown in the Mountain West. Unbeaten TCU.
That was a great game last year. That defense from TCU against Max Hall and that passing attack from BYU, that's epic.
You talked to both coaches today, Chris. I
did. TCU's got an offense now. It's not just defense, as you know, Craig. And Gary Patterson believes it's going to take some points. It may be more of a shootout than people expected to beat the Cougars, who were destroyed, by the way, by Florida State on Provo. He says you got to score in their place. So he's not thinking, you know, 16-10 TCU style. Here's Ponder under center now on 1st down. Hit. Ball loose. Heels recover. Big old Marvin Austin recovers the football. And Ponder very slow to get up, as LT says. That's what I'm talking about.
No, LT loves to see that kind of stuff. Florida State is not very big up front on the offensive line, and they're facing a very physical defensive line from North Carolina.
You know what? They're all big across the board, and the pressure at 6'3", 305, the push, getting to the quarterback is just, you know what? You got to really, wasn't it E.J. Wilson that got in there on him?
Yeah, he's one that hammered him there, and then big old 305-pound Marvin Austin. It was the all-world recruit out of the D.C. area. Scoops up the football. He was thinking end zone, but a very short return. But it sets up Yates and crew at the 13. Drone. Hit for a loss. Flying up to make the stop was Jamie Robinson, the most solid defensive back.
A couple times early in this football game for Florida State offensively to get away with the turnover earlier on the last drive, and now coughing it up. A great pass rush. I don't think they're used to seeing that yet.
You know what we haven't seen in a while is a quarterback at Florida State on the bench. You see Ponder over there slapping his hands, knows he made a mistake.
He's hoping the defense can bail him out. Empty backfield and 5 wide receivers on 2nd and 11. Pressure, Yates across the middle and a touchdown. Ed Barham, the tight end. And they make Ponder pay for the fumble. A quick strike after the fumble. And Barham is first touchdown, only his 3rd catch of the season. Empty backfield. They brought a lot of pressure, and he got rid of it quickly, Jesse.
It was a nice job by UNC. The quick strike mentality coming off a turnover. Ed Barham, normally a blocking tight end. They're able to just kind of sneak him down the middle of the field. TJ Yates doing a nice job drifting on that play.
You guys like what John Shoop Dog, if you will, the offensive coordinator, is dialing up tonight?
Yeah, you know what? And Jesse, this is an interesting call here. This is another little Shoop design play here, the Shoop Dog. He's got Barham over on the left side. Look at him right there. They're off the line over here. He's an eligible receiver. Florida State doesn't pick it up. They're looking at him as a big old tackle sitting in there.
He runs
so
right
he's by himself, runs right by linebacker level, and they're thinking he's a tackle.
He ran right by Kendall Smith. You see TJ Yates right there just kind of drift a little bit by himself the time he needed. Didn't have to throw that hard straight ball, just lobbed it over the linebacker. Great touch.
And a nice leaping chest bump with Mike Paulus, who's the backup quarterback. LT thinking, I picked a good night to come back to Chapel Hill.
Look at that. See, I saw that one time in a football game.
You didn't see many smiles.
Hey, we had a block one time, passing game, and I'm supposed to block LT, and the guard doesn't come out to help me. Of course, it took him no time to beat me. And I turned around and screamed at Steve Grogan, "Ah!" And LT really took it easy on him. And I was walking back to the huddle. I said, hey, LT, thanks for taking care of him. He goes, no problem, man. I couldn't do that to you.
Really? You're telling me Big and Mean-Old LT had a compassionate side?
He was for me that moment. I don't know why.
Welcome to the NFL, by the way, Craig. See you in a second.
I got beaten like 0.5 seconds.
This feels good for an offense that has struggled big time against ACC opponents. We talked about they didn't even get in the red zone against Virginia. Didn't even make it there.
But how about that play call? You got your tight end lined up looking like a tackle, 2 receivers off the line of scrimmage, boom, in the end zone. Good
little wrinkle. And Ponder, that explosive offense, some work to do in a 14-3 hole. Casey Barth, his brother Connor, was a 4-year kicker here. Boots it to Reed. Reed escapes. He is so dangerous, true freshman. LT, by the way, talked to the Tar Heels team last night. Let's take a listen.
Player Lawrence Snyder. That's number 20.
I got you.
We was the 3rd best defense in football, behind Dallas Cowboys and Pittsburgh Steelers. Hey, listen, we didn't even get scored. Hold on 1 second.
They got the 3rd best defense in college football this season coming into this game. And Ponder hands it off. Jermaine Thomas swarmed on. Aaron? See if Aaron's mic is working. Can you hear us?
Can you hear? Hey.
I got you. Yeah.
These things work on live TV. Hey, we're going to have to keep an eye on Christian Ponder's left elbow. When he was hit and he fumbled the ball, I'm not sure if he landed on it or if a guy grabbed it, but he was over on the sidelines kind of flexing it, stretching it out. They tried to put ice on it, but remember this offense wasn't on the sideline too long as UNC converted and scored a touchdown.
No time for an ice bag, huh? We'll keep an eye on it. Thanks, Aaron. Play clock at 4 when Ponder snaps and fires. Rod Owens in traffic. Well, yards after the catch, they are determined to limit that and get a lot of closing speed in that secondary.
Matching up, trying to sneak underneath with a quick ball. Just 4 defenders, a defensive lineman, Jesse, putting a lot of pressure on that offensive line.
It doesn't look to me right now that Florida State offensively was ready for this speed they're seeing right now on all 3 levels of the UNC defense. They're coming to us as advertised. Jimbo Fisher said it again. This team looks like an SEC defense. They can run. And you're seeing it right now.
That is the ultimate compliment in college football, isn't it? Pressure again. Ponder slips it off. It's a screen. A flag is down as Jermaine Fortson takes off. Jarman Fortson muscled down at the 5 by Kendrick Burney. 60-yard play, but let's check the marker way back at the line of scrimmage. There's yards after the catch. Fortson caught it in traffic and took off.
Pass interference, offense, number 8, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot.
Now they called Taiwan Easterling, and it's coming back.
And you know what? This is just one of those, the block occurs before the ball gets in the hands. Watch the block coming from Easterling. Absolutely.
You call that a pick, my friend?
I would say just go ahead and block him.
And
knock him up.
That's so unfortunate for Florida State. That was the perfect play call. UNC brought pressure. Jimbo Fisher throws the slip screen underneath it and gets his big play receiver Fortson out in the open field. And just like that, undisciplined football again from Florida State. It hasn't just been turnovers, big penalties. Because
is that the design of the play, though? He's not supposed to be obvious, but isn't that kind of the idea?
It's supposed to time up.
You got to time it out, you know, and you got to be patient as a receiver, but you can't take too long because we've already seen one guy get hit right at the reception. You got to get out and block him.
We had talked to Jimbo Fisher. He had said that they weren't anticipating to get a lot of big plays against this defense. This defense kind of keeps everything in front of them. They have to capitalize when they have those opportunities because they don't come often.
Instead of first and goal, it's 3rd and 20 at their 20. Ponder having to hustle out there. 5 on the play clock. Snaps it with a second to spare. Shows the arm strength. Fired into Carolina territory, looking for Burt Reed. Here comes a punt.
Really obvious that this offensive line at Florida State can't handle the 4-man pressure. They're moving the pocket, busting the pocket, trying to throw quick underneath the little slips because they don't have time in the backfield.
We had talked about Robert Quinn earlier at defensive end. 7 sacks coming into tonight. He pinned his ears back on that obvious passing down, blew by the left tackle Andrew Datko.
9 seconds in this first quarter. Powell back to punt. Move back 5 yards. Denoris Searcy, the returner, a dangerous man. He brought one back 77 yards against the Citadel.
False start. Offense, number 12. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
And Searcy ranks 11th in the country in punt return yards. It hadn't done it since high school. And he's a junior. They said go back there against the Citadel. He brought one back at the end zone. And young man, that's your job now. You keep doing that. Stutter steps, almost blocked, gets it away, a low kick. Searcy will let it die. Bruce Carter, 3-year starter, a linebacker who plays special teams like a lot of the heel stars, almost got it. 54 yards in the punt, end of the first quarter. 14-3 Carolina.
One shot, 2 shot, 2 shots, somebody done made me hot.
Beginning of the second quarter here in Chapel Hill, a long touchdown march to open the game for the Heels, and then they cashed in a fumble for another touchdown. That's Dakota Watson, number 36, on the sidelines, and that's bad news because the senior is their only consistent pass rusher. He's their vocal leader in defense, but a groin injury. If he comes out there, Aaron Andrews tells us, just going to be in some situations like 3rd and short, but can't really have an impact, Jesse. That's tough.
As if this defense needed more injuries, especially to a key guy like that.
Yeah, he was kind of a game-time decision, but doesn't feel explosive enough to make an impact. This is Little trying to spin away, and he picks up about 4 as we check back with Reese.
All right, Chris, another kind of football on ESPN2 and ESPN360.com. In the MLS, Chivas USA against Chicago Fire. Chicago needs a win or a draw to clinch a playoff berth. They are winless in their last 6 matches, but they do have 4 draws during that span, approaching halftime on ESPN2.
Thanks, Reese. And second down, they hand it ahead to Houston. Houston's short yardage back, and he gets very short yardage.
One thing the offensive coordinator, John Shoup for UNC, told us is he didn't want Florida State to be able to just pin their ears back and get after him. So he wanted to use the quick count, try to mix things up on the line. You're seeing it right here. That was great success, Craig.
Shoup said he didn't want to let them screw their cleats in the grass. Yeah. Fowler said, you know what, though, at times this year they've looked better when those cleats stayed in the grass and didn't come out of their stance. I think Mickey would agree with you, too.
It's the first time John Shoup's coached against Mickey Andrews.
They're going to march it off. We're not sure that the referee's microphone wasn't working, so we don't know the explanation, but it's going to move the ball to the 49. So the flag in the nose and displeasure shown.
Yeah, Mr. Alexander. Guilty party.
40 yards, 4 penalties so far for the Noles. Carolina has not been flagged. Told a punch thrown by Mr. Alexander. If you look at that after this play, short gain, Nigel Carr stopping Houston. Now keep an eye on number 16, the backup linebacker, filling in for Watson tonight.
Yeah, Mr. Alexander, 16. Let's see if he throws it. Yeah, man, Jesse, you know what? You wonder where a player's head is when they do something like that.
I think it's frustration. We'll get in more about how bad this defense has been this year. It's uncharted territory for them, and they have a lot of pride, but I think sometimes you see the frustration from those players.
Hey, mister. That'll cost you 15 every time. The smack to the head. And stutter step. Roan darting ahead. He's got a first down at the 40. We asked Mickey Andrews if you had to whisper in their ear a bunch this season. One of his favorite expressions. He said, we're way past the whisper phase.
Watch this whisper here. How slow this play it takes. How long it takes for it to develop. I mean, you know, Florida State's got to go get the football. They're taking their time behind the backfield. Stop, start, go. Where's the defender?
A lot of young guys, a lot of hesitation, not very much swagger, maybe not very much mean streak in this defense either. Yates under pressure, and he'll go down. So that's the first sack for this Noles defense, and boy, they haven't had many this season. You take out that Jacksonville State game when they had 7 sacks, they had 5 in the other 5 games.
Hey, Chris just mentioned nasty guys out there. When you played against Florida State in the late 90s, they were out there.
A lot different. And I asked Mickey Andrews this week, I said, what's the biggest difference between the great defenses from the 90s and the late 90s and now? And he said, you know what? We're not as mentally or physically tough today as we were then. And he said, and that's on us as coaches. We got to go out and recruit players that can be self-motivated, that have that nasty streak. Florida State needs to be more like that the second half of the season.
This is the 3rd sack of the year for McNeil. And now a throw downfield, and Yates had a man wide open. Here comes a flag. Dwight Jones, the rangy sophomore receiver, was running free, but he was grabbed on the way down the field.
Yeah, I think this is a good grab, too.
Save a touchdown?
It's absolutely.
Holding. Defense, number 21. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Look at the Sells job there by the offensive line. Kyle Jolly, left tackle, coming out, showing screen. 21 Robinson coming up, thinking screen.
Patrick Robinson, the cornerback, the senior, doing a very senior thing right there. He knew he got blown by, doing whatever he could just to slow down Dwight Jones.
He's slowed by a bad ankle. What was he doing, though, jumping the receiver at that point?
He read that tackle coming out. He thought screen, jumped up on him, trying to make the play.
Thrown for about 3. Again, it's been just a series of mental mistakes this season by those defensive backs of Florida State, giving up so many pass plays. Bunch of penalties, too.
And they come into this game giving up 254 yards a game through the air. That's the worst pass defense in FSU history. Again, you're just not used to seeing this from a Mickey Andrews coach team, and you know the players aren't used to it. Mickey Andrews has been very frustrated so far this year calling plays.
Tried to simplify things to cut down on mistakes. That hasn't worked either. Yates flips it short. Tackled for a loss. Moses McCray, defensive tackle, having to fill the big shoes of Bud Thacker, who's out. Nice play.
There have been a lot of filling of shoes on this team.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing you can't overcome on the road, you have 5 penalties as a football team for 50 yards. Your opponent, the home team, has none. They're playing smart football over there.
Well, and that's really something that Butch Davis, that's how he coaches his team, right? We talk about him, and he says,
you think Bobby says, let's go get penalties?
No, but you know what? Play close to the vest. They don't hurt themselves.
I'm with you.
They're in marginal field goal range here at best on 3rd and 8. Inside handoff. Little takes it. Shows why he was a very good running back before moving to receiver. Doesn't have first down yardage. Gained about 4. Mr. Alexander on the stop. So we'll see if Casey Barth comes on for a field goal attempt as long as 40.
Offensive guys staying on the field here.
We met Little in the elevator yesterday. He's a big guy, isn't he?
Hey, here's the advantage of when you have a good defense, you can get into 4-down territory. That's something John Shoup said. What's nice about playing offense when your defense is dominant, your head coach will let you go for these type of plays.
They've converted on 5 of 7 4th-down plays this season. Oh, Yates, trickeration, a direct snap to Drone, and he gets the first down. So the quarterback going to the sidelines like there was confusion, and they snap it.
We've had 3 trickeration plays now by North Carolina tonight, but as you walk off and you go this way, it's just a power. Right side.
Watch all the Florida State players. Look at them all walking around, looking to the sideline. Hey, what's going on?
I like that trick play. That's
Sean
fun.
Drone gets the direct snap and nice physical running. Good salesmanship by TJ Yates.
Wow.
John Shoup, 1 step ahead tonight of Mickey Andrews, a man that he has enormous respect for. 10th play of the drive. Yates firing for the end zone. Jump ball broke it up. Xavier Rhodes, the true freshman, went up and battled Dwight Jones. That's Robinson.
You just said it, Chris. You know, John Shoup coaching against Mickey Andrews first time. The respect that he has. And you know, we mentioned to Mickey Andrews in our meetings this week. Man, you've done a great job. You've had a great career, but it's kind of fallen apart here, and his image is taking a blow.
And I love the play calling by John Shoup in this game so far. Remember, he's got a 12-year pedigree in the National Football League. Was an offensive coordinator for the Bears when he was only 31 years old. You're seeing different formations, shifts, motions, quick counts, trick plays. He's throwing the whole playbook at Florida State.
Play clock was at 5 when the Heels take a timeout. Carolina trying to build this to a 21-3 lead. A little urgency now for this embattled Noles defense. Here in Chapel Hill. Second quarter. Heels on the move again. Already up 14-3 after converting at 4th and 4 with a little trick play. It's all been going right for an offense that has really struggled coming into this game. Yates fires for the end zone, loops it all, and a diving attempt by Dwight Jones. Couldn't get it.
Yates pass intended for number 83 for Lance Jones.
And you mentioned that offense. That was a very key addition for them. Zach Pianalto, their tight end, that they didn't know they'd have him coming into this ball game.
And that's a big loss for UNC. Butch Davis said he could beat Jeremy Shockey, Kellen Winslow Jr., Bubba Franks like. 3 great tight ends that Butch Davis coached at Miami.
He's the guy that caught the ball against Connecticut to tie the game and injured his foot landing on an opponent's foot. Hasn't played since. Got in there briefly earlier. On 3rd and 10, Yates hammered. He got pressure from the blind side. It's incomplete. No catch.
Pass intended for number 33.
Marcus White is still looking for his first sack. Got there just late, but influenced the throw.
Look at the way that they've created. Mickey Andrews has changed up his looks. He brought 3, dropped 1 out of a fire zone into the middle of the field. So he's changed his look. Mickey Andrews is trying to find the right combo.
There was a time when he could just line up 4 guys on the line and let them go pin their ears back. Those days are over.
So here's Casey Barth, just 1 of 3 from 30 to 39 yards. This is from 39, and a couple of flags here. Penetration by the Noles. See if they were drawn on.
There are flags on the play.
Connor Barth, you remember if you're a fan of ACC football, 54 field goals, a career record, and little brother Casey getting his turn. Came here as a walk-on.
Offside by contact, number 95, defense, 5-yard penalty. Repeat the 4th down.
Still 4th and about 4. Kevin McNeil guilty of the penalty.
The 6th penalty now in this game for Florida State. UNC has yet to commit their first penalty.
Mickey spitting and fussing over there. So now Casey Barth from 34 yards. Sneaks it inside the upright. And the Heels build the lead to 14. Christian Ponder and that high-powered offense in a hole. A little urgency now. Great career, Bobby Bowden. Began Samford, West Virginia, and then to Florida State from 1976 until now. Will this be it? Will Bowden get his wish to coach at least 1 more season before Jimbo Fisher, the coach in waiting, takes over for 2011, in which time, if they don't give him the head coaching job, he'll cool $5 million. Part of that unorthodox, somewhat sloppy coach in waiting. And there's a lot of guys with titles on this staff. You have the executive head coach Chuck Amato, the associate head coach Mickey Andrews, the assistant head coach Rick Trickett, coach in waiting, and the head coach.
There's going to be a lot of formers in front of those name titles down the road.
There's Lewis Gibbons, and gets the corner, gets to the 25-yard line. That, of course, is one of the major issues going forward. Jimbo Fisher, who calls the plays here, will have to be allowed to make some decisions on the future of the defensive staff.
That's
a couple times he said, when we got here. Yeah. He kept saying it as if his whole staff were new. He was referring to him and Lawrence Dawsey, the receiver coach he brought in.
Interesting question, though. Concept. I mean, you've got a coach in waiting. If he is the guy that makes the decision, the new defensive coordinator next year.
I'd have to think it makes sense, wouldn't it? Who's going to be the coach down the road? This is Jermaine Thomas. And the Seminoles, before that play, were just 35 yards in total offense, 55 yards in penalties. Coach in waiting had become popular in recent years. Joker Phillips waiting to take over. Rich Brooks has a contract through 2011. Mac Brown's not going anywhere for a while.
And Brett Bielema was a coach in waiting at Wisconsin. Chip Kelly.
Only for 1 year, though.
Yep,
See, that's
at Oregon, and Danny Hope 1 year as well at Purdue.
This is the 3rd year for Fisher as quote, coach in waiting.
And I think it works at Muschamp at Texas. I mean, that's a good situation for Will and for Coach Brown and the whole situation.
Thomas, and the flag is down. This was before the play. Thomas, a guy they need to get involved. Good hands, receiver. Made a couple of plays in the running game this year, but still averaging under 4 a carry.
Offside. Defense, number 92. 5 yards in the previous spot. Repeat the down.
Now, going back to Bobby Bowden, the question is, will he be here next year as the head coach? I think a lot of people were spoiled with all those great years of success. 14 straight years in the top 5, and there's a lot of people that are going to look at not just what's happening this year, but what's happened over the last 5 years. They haven't been as dominant as they were back in the 80s and 90s.
Not by a long shot. You're talking about a team in the last 4+ seasons is 17-17 in the ACC coming into this game tonight.
Speaking of this game tonight, how about this stat here? Against this football program, They're 14-1-1.
Yeah.
Right? So this is a team that's owned North Carolina, and it looks the other way around here now.
Well, and their players, Christian Ponder, came into tonight's game saying, hey, we're going to shock the world and beat UNC. That just goes to show you where this program is today as opposed to where it used to be.
Somebody tell number 7, he's a smart guy, but you don't shock the world by beating Carolina when you're at Florida State. There's a 2-point underdog. Ponder fires as an open man. That's Fortson near midfield. Another first down.
I think you go back to Bobby Bowden again. I really think it's a matter of results versus the principle. If you go back to the beginning of 2005, this football team is only 33-25. But the principle, Bobby Bowden built Florida State. When you go back and look at what he's done, I mean, can you really not allow him to coach next year?
Oh, yeah. There's going to be some pressure. And I think these last 12 days, he's had to answer lots of questions. I think ultimately it's going to force Coach Bowden to name a date and tell him when.
Little option look. Ponder shows his strength and leg drive. Picks up about 3 when there wasn't much there. Quentin Coples and Sturdivant on the tackle.
And what I mean by that is, you know, I thought I heard, I might be reading into what I'm listening to today. He was talking on SportsCenter earlier this afternoon about, you know, I thought I could get away with waiting until the end of the year like I always do and then tell everybody what I'm planning on doing. I'm coming back or I'm not. But these last 2 weeks, maybe they're not going to let me do that.
Well, I think the big debate for many is what's best for Coach Bowden. They don't believe is what's best for the program. And what's bigger, the program or the legend who built it at this point? There's a little slant. Another catch by Fortson. Nope, incomplete. Charles Brown arrived soon after the football, knocked it loose.
One big question I have is recently Bobby Bowden has said he wants to coach more years, plural. So you expect that means through the end of 2010 because we know Jimbo Fisher is owed $5 million if he's not the coach by 2011. But he's being secretive about it. He's not just coming out and saying, hey, I want to coach till the end of next year. I don't understand why he just can't come out and say that.
I think he needs to now. I think this might force him into it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
3rd and 7. Little trickeration from the Noles. The flag is down as the entire offensive line is still sitting there. All 5 offensive linemen just now coming out of their stance.
Rick Trickett, their offensive line coach, coaches that. I've seen that before. Unbelievable discipline. If they feel they've gotten a defense off sides, they don't even move till the play is over. It's a former Marine coaching you right there.
Yeah, it's not Ponder's dad, though.
Sergeant.
Offside on the defense, number 9. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
They drew Marvin Austin off. Look at this guy. These guys are frozen here.
Yeah, but wouldn't you like, though, Jesse, your line to come help you a little bit? Just in case something breaks down?
It's unbelievable discipline. They do this every week. If they get a free play, those guys don't move. It's amazing to me that not even one guy flinches.
All right, here you got 8 rushes for -6 yards tonight by this Florida State offense. And you got, you know, this is 2-down stuff here, I think. You got to get in there. This offensive line, this offense, they don't want to punt and give it over. They got to get a first down.
Thomas next to Ponder. Quarterback rolls. Takes off. Bumped into a blocker and takes a loss. And now it's 4th and 4.
Different call.
Thought right there Christian Ponder had his receiver Jarman Fortson open in the flat, but you're seeing that speed. Kevin Reddick, the true freshman, moving downfield. These guys can run sideline to sideline. Again, something Florida State's just not used to seeing.
And Craig, now they're going to punt.
Yeah, he got
felt it was 4-down territory, but the 2-yard loss makes it a different deal. Down by 14. Ponder's group has to give it away again.
You see Jimbo Fisher telling his junior quarterback, he's open. Just get the football out of your hands. The play's there to be had.
That's usually something he does pretty well, right? Gets it out of there quickly.
He hasn't made those mistakes this year.
So there's the delay. They'll back up Sean Powell 5 yards.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
You agree with the punt decision? Down 14 at the 45?
I think so. When you went back 4th and 4 or 5, I thought that was the right deal. You know, you get it to 4th and 1, new game.
And especially with the defense you have and the way this supposed worst offense in the ACC is marching the football down the field on you.
Punt headed for the sidelines. A flag is down.
There is a flag on the play.
Mark the ball about the 15.
Juan Sturdivant there signaling holding.
And when did it happen?
During the kick, there was holding by number 12 of the receiving team. That penalty will be administered from the end of the kick. 10 yards. First down.
So the Heels poor field position, but leading Bowden's team 17-3 midway second. Saturday night, the top-ranked Gators off the home scare against Arkansas take on State in Starkville, 7:30 Eastern time. Dan Mullen, of course, the former play caller for Urban Meyer, the boss of the Bulldogs tonight. You can tell Tim Tebow what it's like to play in a cowbell country.
Starkville,
right?
not an easy place to go. In 2000, we were undefeated heading in there. We lost a shootout to Mississippi State. All I remember is cowbells everywhere ringing. Not good memories from Starkville. That is not a gimme win for Florida either.
But you know what? Because it's not a gimme, this is one of those that you would assume is going to be hard, but Florida will.
I thought their offense would awaken against Arkansas. It didn't happen. Number one team that's failed to reach 24 points back-to-back games. Ryan Houston, short game as the Heels begin from their worst field position. Guys, we knew it was going to be a matchup of good offense, good defense. So far, the good defense, Carolina's winning that, but poor offense coming in versus poor defense. Carolina's winning that one, too.
It's been a complete game so far from Carolina. They're also winning the penalty battle. They're playing smarter. They've been able to put long drives together on offense.
And now we're going to see Shoop and this offense realize what the game and the score is, right? And he said that. Be aware of the score. You got a good defense. Don't do something stupid down here late in the second quarter to get the other team back in it.
You calling for another run here on 2nd and 8, you think?
That's what Shoop was saying the other day.
That's what it is. Drone, Sutter steps. He's pulled down. Good looking tackle in the middle of the line there. Jacoby McNeil, the true freshman. Aaron?
Chris, just an update on North Carolina tight end Zach Penalto. We saw him walk off the field into the locker room. This guy's been dealing with foot injury. It's not that. He was actually shaken up, a possible head injury. They're saying he's questionable to return. And of course, Butch Davis telling us we need this guy in order to beat good teams.
Interesting, Aaron. So not that foot fracture that has kept him out. Something else. Keep an eye out for number 17. In the meantime, on 3rd down, they just hand it off again, and this is Drone fighting very near first down yardage at the 18. Looks like he's got it.
That's an ex-safety right there carrying the football. You see that ability to get north-south, looking for contact, able to push those markers forward.
I liked his story. And he went to Coach Davis and he said, you know, Butch, I think I can help you more as a running back than I can as a safety.
And it was a smart decision because he was really struggling at safety. He knew he had to move positions, try to help this football team out.
What was the story, Chris? His dad's a minister, and we asked him if it was tough. And
both parents are non-denominational ministers.
Yeah, he said it was a bit like Joe Jackson. There was some tough love growing up.
Sean Drone's an interesting story. Here's a guy, again, that played safety 2 years ago. He gets a chance to play running back last year. He runs for 866 yards, which is the most a UNC tailback has had since 1997. A lot of production right off the bat. He's got a lot of ability.
So 3 runs, got them the first down, improved the field position. It's Drone to the left of Yates. They give it to him again. This time the Noles wrap him up.
Offensive coordinator John Shoop told us the greatest game he ever called was when he was an offensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears. They were playing a Thanksgiving Day game against the Detroit Lions, and they got up 21-0 in the first quarter. Dick Jauron, then head coach, walked over to him on the sidelines at break and said, "I want to be eating dinner at 5 o'clock." They didn't throw the football again.
They throw it here. A flag is down as Yates looks deep. Jeremy Boyd headed to the end zone. Let's check the flag. This is coming back.
Holding offense number 33.
Now the fireworks going off after the 81-yard completion, but a hold will bring it back.
Yeah, North Carolina just wasted a lot of gunpowder in that fireworks there because that is holding on the right side. But Florida State now in this game, they've had a big play call back against them as well.
Yeah, a 60-yard gain that would have given them first and goal, wiped out on an offensive pass interference. This takes away the touchdown.
You know, UNC has been struggling to find big plays from the wide receiver position
They just showed the replay, Jesse, on the board. I don't know if Yates saw a hold there.
The crowd certainly didn't.
Here it comes.
Right side. And I believe this is, they just get mugged. But that's the backup tight end now. We just told you that Zach Pianalto's gone. So Christian Wilson's in there, 33. More of an H-back type and just getting kind of pushed back and grab some cloth.
Ball pushed back to the 10, 2nd and 18. Drone. Short game.
UNC has been able to score on drives of 10 and 12 plays. And again, with all those injuries, you just don't expect them to be able to keep that up in this game. When they get big play opportunities,
There's Nigel Carr.
They got to take advantage.
Mickey's going to sit him down. That was close to a taunting penalty there after the play.
Yeah, he was doing that earlier in the game, too. He was on punt return. He was jarring off with some of the other players. He's fired up in this game.
Well, but he also ought to look at the scoreboard.
You better channel it. That kind of fired up can cost you 15 if you get the wrong official down there. They showed some restraint. 3rd and 15. Yates takes a shot. Has a man deep. It's Boyd again. And not quite. Jamie Robinson able to get there. The ball stayed in the air a long time.
Well, that's because it went 60 yards. He threw that football 60 yards in the air. And you know what? This is how does the secondary, Jesse, not stay deeper than the widest wide receiver?
Craig, I was just going to say that. There's a reason this is the worst pass defense in Florida State history. On the same drive, they let 2 different guys get back behind them. Jamie Robinson, the senior safety, how does he let that happen?
Unbelievable. And what'd you say, Chris? They give up 18.8?
Per completion.
Now we know why.
So Chalik to punt again. Reed, the freshman. Gets a block. Hurdles a man. He can make you miss. The exciting Greg Reed sets up the Noles in plus territory. 20-yard return after a 50-yard punt as he tried with Reese.
Chris, coming up on the IBM halftime report, we'll see who's on upset watch and what has to happen for some highly ranked teams to tumble. The Donald visits the doctor, and we'll have Mayday's Irish insights, and perhaps we'll also find out why Jesse Palmer awakens in the middle of the night screaming more cowbell. It's coming up on the IBM halftime report.
Is that true?
Oh, man. No, I wanted less cowbell.
Less cowbell.
It's brutal.
Are you going to see Dr. Lou?
He's a Chuka Genije. He's hurt on that punt return. He's the starting corner. The junior has been toasted a few times this season, shaken up.
Again, injuries have really been a problem here.
He delivered a big block, but hurt himself on the play. That's the block that helped Reed.
No, it was actually it was a little bit after that. He just kind of got blindsided from behind. He was kind of just relaxing on the play, and a guy blew him up. You'll see here, he's just trailing coming down the field right here. Guy misses a tackle, and boom. He's just trying to relax, and he kind of gets spun around.
He's walking very slowly. The Noles now, minute 56. They have 2 timeouts before halftime to try to cut into this 14-point lead.
Absolutely. Offensive line's got to protect and give Ponder some time to throw the ball down the field.
Thomas in the backfield. 4 receivers out wide. They flip it far side. This is Burt Reed. Short game.
There's a lot of time on the clock right now. 2 timeouts. You can run your offense. You don't need big chunks. You can just methodically move this thing down the field. And you see right now them trying to get the football quickly out of Ponder's hands.
Wouldn't you like to have the ability to run a draw or something? I mean, but when you're 9 carries and -8 yards on the night, you have no confidence that maybe hit them in the middle of the field with a draw.
Tough sledding.
Very few yards after the catch for Fisher's receiving corps. The 7 completions totaling just 66 yards passing. Another short drop and a firing into traffic. That one's caught by Owens, and Rod Owens has a first down inside the 30.
That's really the reason in this offensive scheme with all these athletes, you can throw these quick slant routes and they can catch these 7-yard completions and turn them into bigger plays.
Uncharacteristic there. Bruce Carter, big upside, usually a good tackler, just goes in with his body and didn't wrap up the receiver.
Pick up 15. Ponder flips it to the man in motion. It's Speedy Lewis Givens. Yeah, that's been coming back from a hamstring injury, but a guy they use in the running game has scored a couple touchdowns this season.
You noticed on this drive so far, 3 passes, nothing vertical. Everything's been horizontal, trying to get those playmakers out in space.
Now, what are you saying? Hit the middle of the field here? Do they have somebody that can sneak in the middle? 2 deep safeties.
Ponder looks outside again, fires, and has a man wide open. Burt Reed, foot inbounds at the 3. That's a good-looking throw.
He does such a good job anticipating throws. That's one thing I love about Christian Ponder's game.
You saw that safety in the middle of the field, Jesse. He wasn't going to let anybody to the middle, was he? But he forgot that there's about 20 yards over there of green stuff between him and the sidelines.
Didn't take long for Burt Reed to get there. And again, Christian Ponder, very good understanding of where to go with the football in the post snap. And a nice job by Reed there, getting his foot down to ensure the completion.
So in just 4 plays, taking just 24 seconds, the Noles have a 1st and goal. Ponder keeps it. Flag is down, and so is the quarterback for a loss. Carter tracked him down at the 10. We'll check the marker. Looked like a false start.
Yep.
I'm not sure that might have been an illegal formation. Rod Owens trying to wave guys up on the line of scrimmage there from his split end spot.
Illegal formation, 5 players in the backfield on the offense. That penalty's declined. 2nd down.
So again, penalties here on this football team, down where you got it going.
That was declined, but it brings up a 2nd and 10. In the red zone, Noles have been pretty good. 18 touchdowns and 27 trips, and boy, do they need a touchdown here.
And the clock down to 12-11.
They'll have to hurry. Play clock at 4. Didn't get it off. Wow. With 2 timeouts in your pocket. You're going the wrong way.
Delay of game. Offense number 7.
What, Jesse, a quarterback's got to have better awareness, huh?
It's not just the situation. You are in the red zone, but it's with the time left and 2 tight ends in your pocket. You can't move back, Craig.
But you know what I'm thinking here is the lack of a running game has Jimbo Fisher over there deliberating in his head. Okay, I have nothing that we can run on the ground. What do I do? My options are limited here. It took time for him over there on the sideline.
And the clock is running inside of 50 seconds. Again, still 2 timeouts to spare. 2nd and goal from the 15. Ponder under pressure, drops it off short for Burt Reed. Gets it about 6 yards back. Now it's down to 35 seconds, and time is an issue here.
And this was a team, they were on the 3-yard line just a moment ago.
Yep.
Here's the thing about that play right there. It's a double play move by the receiver, showing slant, wheeling out of it. It's a long developing play to get a couple of yards. You know what I mean? Not great use of time there.
See if Fisher has Ponder take a shot in the end zone, or if they try to dump it off short.
Again, look at that play clock.
If you're going to have the quarterback come to the sidelines and deliver the play and then run back out there, yeah, we're going to have to spend a timeout. Not electing to signal the play in. It's a kind of a one-on-one chat, Jesse, but it's taken a lot of time.
It's a long way to run if you're a quarterback, to go all the way to the sidelines, get the play, and they're also having conversations. It's not like it's a quick exchange of words. Give me the play, I'm running back.
Well, and when we came into this game, the strength of Florida State was their offense. And they haven't matched. You know, North Carolina's defense has come out and hit them in the mustache and been strong from the get-go.
Got a couple of sacks. Have a takeaway. The Noles rushing game, -14.
Defensive coordinator Everett Withers told us that he wants to have a nasty disposition on defense so that when teams see UNC on the schedule.
That guy was nasty.
Wow.
He said PO'd. He wanted his defense to be PO'd on the sideline.
And set the tone. And we talked to Robert Quinn, the defensive end. We talked to Marvin Austin, the defensive tackle, and they said, we want other teams to quit. We love when other teams hate us because we're that good.
You got to play fast, though. That's going to happen. We've seen them play fast tonight.
So crucial 3rd and goal. Heels show a 3-man rush, and they do drop 8 into coverage. They dump it off short. Catch made, but not a touchdown. Bruce Carter was right there to tackle Thomas. 4th and goal from the 3. Let's see what Bowden decides to do. Clock continues to run.
They'll run it down here and call time, kick a field goal, or make an attempt at it. But how about Everett Withers? That defense, how smart they are. They backed up to the goal line, played umbrella, kept everything in front. Very smart.
That speed is such an asset because you can play those types of coverages. You can play space and allow all these Florida State guys to run in front of you. But if you know you can go make a tackle because of that speed and gang tackle, that's what they can do, and that's why they can play this type of scheme.
You saw the conversation, reading lips there, Bowden and Fisher talking about whether to kick a field goal. It's interesting that decision making when the coach in waiting who's got increasing authority, calls the plays, and you get the head coach who would make this decision in almost all the time.
They've communicated though over the last year and a half though. Sure. They do talk about different decisions to be made, but
this is one of those deals where it's the head coach's call if you go for 3 or try to get a touchdown and the kicker is on the field.
Yeah, they need points.
Well, and I
think they needed 7 points though. Yeah. That was a disaster from being 1st and goal with the 3 to come away with 3.
You're right. They have not been dominant on offense so far in this half, but this shows you they have confidence in this offense. In the second half, they'll be able to generate points and get back in this game.
You get the ball to start the second half, and here's Hopkins from 18 yards and another flag.
False start. Offense, number 63. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
No big deal. It is the 9th penalty of the half. It'll maybe give Hopkins a better angle.
That was their strategy. I got you.
I didn't say it's a strategy.
No big deal.
Why? Do you think this is a big deal compared to some of the other penalties?
No, it's just sloppy, man. 9 penalties. I don't like.
I'm not arguing about that. We should have 26-yard attempt with a freshman. Knocks it through. So the Noles cash in the good field position, but only for 3 as time expires. An impressive first half for the home team. They hold Florida State to an even 100 yards total offense. Cashed in the fumble and lead it by 11 as Aaron is joined by Coach Bowden.
I believe it's me.
All right, Coach. Well, first of all, I have to ask you about the penalties. How do you address 9 penalties with your team during halftime?
That's the thing that's getting us beat. You know what? Right now, I mean, we make about a 60 or 70-yard run down there and get a penalty. We didn't think it was, but that was what was called.
UNC's defense has shown a ton of speed in this game. What kind of adjustment do you make to counter that?
Well, we just got to execute. If we eliminate the penalties, what do you think that score would be right now? It'd be pretty darn close, you know what? So we can go see what we got to do. Get on these kids, get kids about the penalties.
Coach, thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
All right, Chris.
Aaron, the Heels also had an 81-yard touchdown call back by a penalty of their own. 17-6. 2 teams looking for their first conference win. It's the Heels up by 11 as we join Reese in our ESPN studio for the IBM halftime report. Set for the second half in Chapel Hill. ESPN's college football primetime presented by Applebee's. The first ever Thursday night game here at North Carolina. We knew the story coming in was going to be the Tar Heels' fine defense against the Noles' high-powered offense. Well, scored the first half for the team in navy blue as this Noles attack held to 6 first downs, 100 total yards, negative 14 rushing yards. Ouch.
Well, but you know what? North Carolina, they did it in the first quarter. You know, they had 14 points, 101 yards. The second quarter, 3 points and 36 yards. So Florida State kind of tightened up a little bit on them.
FSU gets the ball to start the second half, and this is Lewis Givens at the 25-yard line, and yet another flag down. 9 penalties on Bowden's team for 70 yards in the first half. Boy, it can start to snowball.
During the return, holding, offense, number 13, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
Well, it's a nice segue to our Home Depot coaching adjustments here. Penalties, mistakes, timing, lack of timing eliminated a very big play by Florida State. Jesse, they just got to settle down. They can't continue to make mistakes.
Well, they can't lose their cool. They have to come out in the second half ready to go. They've gotten in their own way so far in this game. This UNC defense, to me, so far, yards are tough to come by. They cannot get in their way. They have to buckle down, play smart football in the second half.
Yeah, but a terrible start to the second half with a penalty that backs them up to the 13. Poor field position. The students are right behind Ponder in that end zone. Handed off to Lonnie Pryor, and true freshman breaks a tackle, short gain.
I think it's really important, Craig, in the second half, Florida State starts running the football. They've been balanced in terms of their play calling in the first half, but minus 14 rushing yards coming in. They got to find ways to get creases.
It's hard to do that, though, when your offensive line's getting whipped by their front four, right? And you just got no chance of dominating and controlling the defensive line, so you have to depend on the quick, short, slipping passes and then yards after the catch.
They've only gained, 15 yards, offset by the big losses, but tough to be one-dimensional. Ponder flips it in the flat. This is Pryor going down low to make the catch, and short of the first down at the 20-yard line, Bruce Carter can stop.
Well, that's a way, as an offensive coordinator, when you're struggling to run the football conventionally, throw swing passes, quick screens. Those are extensions of sweep plays, really.
What can Fisher dial up? They haven't yet converted on third down tonight. They need 3. Rush only 4, and Thomas can't come up with it. Ponder got it out quickly, off the hands of his running back, and a 3 and out.
And Jermaine Thomas has the ability to play wide receiver. So he's got the hands. How do you blame Jimbo Fisher or Bobby Bowden for that? I mean, that's lack of execution on the players' part.
At some point, players have to go out and make plays. You got to move these chains. You're supposed to be the best offense in the ACC.
Punt by Powell. Searcy. Cross midfield. And the Tar Heels already up 11 will start in plus territory. Guys, it's time to talk NASCAR here. Sunday, Chase hits the halfway point. Mark Martin and Gordon looking to close the gap. 3-time defending champion Jimmy Johnson is in Martinsville. Coverage begins 1 o'clock Sunday on ABC. Done by Goodyear. Johnson again. We talk about this every week, trying to do something that's just astounding in the history of all sports. You can win a 4th straight Cup title. One down the road is Charlotte last week. Yates fires over the middle off the hands of his tight end. Aaron?
Chris, you guys mentioned how fired up UNC head coach Butch Davis was in pregame warmups. Well, Coach Davis fired up coming out of the half, talking about how this team needs to act like it's 0-0 right now. He wants them to reestablish the intensity. Offensively, he said we need to just have a good balance here. Run game, passing, and then guys, key for his defense, he said tackling. Continue to do it. Don't let down. Remember, guys, they still look at this Florida State team like the Florida State team.
Aaron, there's an end around and Little into the secondary. No, they may look at him like that, but they don't look like vintage Florida State.
How about John Shoop, the offensive coordinator, finding unconventional and creative ways to get players involved in the running game?
Okay, now let's just see if there's any kind of defensive work here going on. We're going to freeze it for you when you get around here in just a moment. All right, look at the Florida State defense. Look at this. Nobody's outside. Where's containment, Jesse? You can't do that. That's terrible defense.
You saw Nigel Bradden, the linebacker, struggling to run Little down. He's had a big night catching passes. Scored a touchdown run. Yates in the flat to Drone, throws a dart. And running back dragged down by Kendall Smith after about 5.
You're seeing offensively right now, John Shoop, how these end arounds are extensions building into new plays. Right there, Greg Little in motion again. They fake the handoff, they fake the around and spit it out in the flat.
So you know what it's doing, guys? It's accentuating the weakness of a bad defense. That's not disciplined. They're not covering the field.
Though, Craig, all of a sudden you can run sideline to sideline. You can go wide on a Florida State defense.
No doubt.
When did that happen?
Brother. You and I have watched this team for a long time. You played against them, Jesse. Florida State used to run you down when you left the tackle box.
Drone cuts left, tries to get the corner. Shoved out at the 10. It was Jamie Robinson. So he's a couple of yards short for a 3rd down and 2.
I think one thing that's very different about this Florida State defense as opposed to some of the greats in the past, no real dominant defensive lineman. When you go back and look at guys like Peter Boulware, Renard Wilson, Andre Wadsworth, Corey Simon, ballers playing up front, that would, like you say, chase you down and do it by themselves. Then you used to need 4 guys to get pressure.
Their best player, Dakota Watson, hasn't been able to go tonight with the groin problem. There are no Derek Brooks, Marvin Shade Tree Jones out there in the 2nd level of defense either. They fake it to Houston. Yates keeps it. Gets a block, and the quarterback into the end zone, standing up. Nothing vintage about this Noles team. You saw the shot of Andrews. Carolina reaching the end zone for their first possession of the 2nd half, as they did to open this game. Yates with a nice block from Ed Barham, the tight end. Barth makes it 24-6, and you see why it was so important to try to get 7 and not 3 at the end of the half for Florida State.
Yeah, when you watch this football team play, Florida State starting to walk that sideline. The offense better come up with an explosive play. They have the ability to do it. Now go get it done.
There's the world famous Franklin Street, one of the more famous main drags in a college town. When the Heels win the basketball national championship, as they did last spring, that place is shut down. You get kids up in the trees. It's also huge on Halloween night, Palmer. You might want to consider navigating your way to Chapel Hill, knowing how much you enjoy that holiday.
Hey, you're a New Yorker for that, though.
Halloween is a big deal in Manhattan, New York. There's no question about that.
Yeah, there's Dakota Watson again. He hasn't been able to go. Their best defensive player. And I think with that groin problem, and they have missed him tonight. Givens. Ooh, big thud at the 23-yard line. Tinsley on the hit, or intelligent move brought to you by Mercedes-Benz.
Well, a nice intelligent move by John Shoop, the offensive coordinator, getting his big, strong receiver, Greg Little, involved early in the game. Jesse, a little trickeration on him.
And I like it. They're getting him involved in the running game as well, and that makes sense because he played running back last year. This is a guy that's used to having the football in his hands, in space, playing physical, and they've been able to do that so far tonight.
Greg Little, more yards than the Noles tonight. Former basketball walk-on. Played briefly a couple of times for Roy Williams' basketball team. Nice visit with Roy at halftime up here. Ponder, near side. Again, nothing after the catch. Rod Owens picks up only about 6 in the quick tackle.
Well, and Florida State knew that this was going to be the case. They had to get long drives, and it doesn't bother Jimbo Fisher because against Georgia Tech, they had 539 yards of total offense. The longest play in that game was only 33 yards.
Yeah, and I like the tempo. Get out of the huddle. Let's go to the line of scrimmage. Let's change the pace here because this offense can get it done. Ponder has the ability as to his receivers.
Got time as the Heels rush 4, lobs it downfield over the head of Easterling, and Searcy was in the neighborhood for the Heels.
This is what I'm talking about on UNC's defense. Guys with size that can run. They have 2 very big safeties playing back there, but you see how fast they can gobble up space when the ball's in the air.
But I get the sense that ball was overthrown. Ponder's not been having a lot of overthrown balls, and I think he's feeling that blue jersey, the defensive line. He feels the presence of that fast defense.
Yeah, Craig, and not just fast. They work well. Defense out there that has 6 3-year starters. Tremendous experience. They played when they were young pups a couple years ago. This wasn't a very good team, but they have grown up together. They're pretty good in 09. Ponder on 3rd down. And delivers short. Owens has it, and he has first down yardage as he fights to the 39.
Number 86, Rod Owens.
Real distinct number that jumps out at us here in the booth is in rushing yards here. North Carolina averaging 4.3 a carry, and you got Florida State still in the minus category. So it's a one-handed offense right now, and they've not been like that so much this season.
Carolina's struggling with the running game throughout the season. Coming into tonight, it hadn't been very productive at all. They found ways with kind of unconventional running plays, though. This is Thomas. Quick burst, and Thomas fighting to midfield. There's one of the few productive runs for this offense tonight.
And guys, this is what I'm talking about. They just have to find ways to get this going. If that means lining up in the pistol formation or in unconventional sets, you have to stay balanced. You need to find ways to get Thomas involved.
Rodney Hudson, the guard. Nice job, Craig, clearing out there. Almost imperative for Florida State to answer the Carolina touchdown on this possession. Ponder in the flats, dumps it off. Thomas has some room. And he's showing a little energy here in the 3rd quarter.
Well, that pistol formation, what that's doing is that's really balancing up that North Carolina defense. And the linebackers are having to stand in there and be balanced. So they don't know if it's going left or right, and it really gives an advantage to Florida State.
You're right, Craig. And I love on that play, Christian Ponder showing you his eye discipline. He knew he was going to throw that swing route out to the left, kept his eyes downfield as long as he could to freeze the defense before spitting it out to his playmaker.
Chris Thompson, a true freshman, is now in the pistol behind Ponder. He's got it. And short gain, very near a marker at the 40.
Chris Thompson, number 23 on the run.
See Florida State trying to run to the left side behind their best offensive lineman, left guard, Rodney Hudson. He's a guy 2 years ago was a freshman All-American. Last year he was first-team All-ACC. Not a very big guy. He's only 285 pounds, but he is the quote-unquote bell cow of that Florida State front line.
Or is it cowbell? Which one is it? We were talking about this yesterday, Craig.
It depends on which side of the mouth that you're chewing your tobacco in the pasture. You might ask for a cowbell. Where's my cow with a bell? Or it could be the bell cow.
You didn't exactly clear that up for me,
well,
Mr.
I know.
Farmhand.
Most people jump out there and say, hey, where's my bell cow? But then I've been in the pasture with guys that say, hey, where's the cow with the bell? Where's my cowbell?
The leader cow with the bell.
You dealt with that in Canada all the time, I know.
We have
this guy on a farm, yeah. But by the way, they're inches short here. It'll be 3rd down, so they'll give it to.
We have Holstein cows in Canada, by the way. Those are some of the best cattle out there.
Good. Well, that's not a cow, but
you got a ram here with blue horns. It's not a natural phenomenon, I promise. 3rd and short. This is Thompson, who goes just 173 pounds. And so Ponder's going to keep it and make the first down. Not much deception on that play.
You see them again running behind left guard Rodney Hudson. I think this is something we're going to see in the second half. They're just going to line up and say, look, this is our best lineman. We're running behind him. If we're going to have any success on the ground, we're going to earn it behind our best player up front.
Tough to move out those Carolina
After
tackles.
the play, there are dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct on both teams. Number 88, offense. Number 9, defense. Those penalties offset will be first down.
So Relaford, who steps off there, the tight end, and Marvin Austin, who will also come off for a play. No big impact. Let's check out what happened.
See Relaford right there just trying to pull Marvin Austin off of his quarterback. Guess he didn't like that.
First down. Ponder gets blitzed, gets rid of it, and a drop. Fortson had it. The heels brought pressure right up the middle with the freshman linebacker, Kevin Redding.
At least Ponder broke the pocket, didn't think run. Fortunately, these receivers, now they've usually been dependable this season.
You know, and there's an opportunity to get yards after the catch. You see Fortson working back towards the football. He catches that. He's already beaten the corner, Charles Brown. Speed back inside for big yards.
Yeah, Fortson's a guy that could have made the catch that perhaps would have reshaped this season against Miami at the end of the game. It was a low throw by Ponder. Fortson couldn't come up with it. Many in the Knowles Nation believe that you'd have a different season had they gotten the home win to open it. Ponder right down the middle, complete, and taking a big hit at the 25-yard line as Reed held on. Deontay Williams was there. 15-yard gain.
Jesse, in the second quarter, you mentioned that North Carolina had not been attacked in the middle of the field, and how about Reed going up, making the tough catch?
He's a guy that's really emerging, and he knows he's going to get hit. He's got Deontay Williams just breathing down his neck, but good receivers understand, hey, you know what? I might as well make the catch anyway, because I'm about to get blown up.
Reed just wants to find the end zone. He's been so close, but has yet to catch a touchdown pass this season. Ponder, pump fake, goes to the end zone, jump ball, risky throw, is looking for Owens. And Williams again there to break it up. There's the play against the Hurricanes to open the season. After Canes had taken the lead, a seesaw game, 3rd and goal to 2. Low throw by Ponder. He took the blame. Thought he had a touchdown. Fortson couldn't come up with it. They reviewed it. Supported the call on the field of incomplete. And the Canes having a terrific year after that 4-point win. The Knowles have gone the other direction. It's the 11th play of this drive. Play action. Again, they dump it off short for Thomas. A couple of nice blocks, and he dives for about 8.
Again, I'm really impressed because you're watching this defense. You and I are running around.
Jordan Hemby, the backup corner, down on the field.
And it's amazing on that play. 3 different UNC players are on the ground when he catches the football, and you see how fast they pop back up and swarm to the football. The athleticism is unbelievable. You know, it's crazy. You were mentioning earlier about that last play against Miami, and Bobby Bowden pointed out to us that, you know, in their 4 losses this year, they have all come down to the final 2 or 3 minutes of the game. It's not like Florida State is getting blown out this season. The reality is they are 2-4, and people do look at losses, but he's been trying to go back and show his team these late game changing plays where they could have won games.
Look at the losses, though. USF and Georgia Tech at home. If you exclude the Jacksonville State 1AA opponent, they've lost 5 in a row to 1A opponents at Doak Campbell. And by the way, no emails. I know it's FBS and FCS and that politically correct nonsense that they came up with. It 1AA, 1A.
Right. I'm with you.
I like to stick with that. They've lost 5 straight to 1A opponents at home. That's a shock.
And I think when people look at the schedule, they say, well, they're going to play Maryland at home and they're going to play NC State at home, and these are wins, but we've watched them play at home. It's different.
This ACC conference is a tough conference. No, great teams. On any given Saturday, a team can rise up and win.
We've seen that for sure. Still looking at Jordan Hemby, and we'll take a break. Very good news. Jordan Hemby able to walk to the sidelines. He launched himself at the ball carrier, took a real blow to the head. Keep an eye right here.
That's why fundamentally when they tell you as a defender, always see what you're tackling. Keep your head up. When you duck your head, that's when you get in trouble.
3rd and 3. Knowles have converted on 2 third downs on this drive. Ponder keeps it. Breaks a tackle, and Christian Ponder dives for a 1st and goal. They've done a good job containing his running, which has been a problem for some opponents, but that's a clutch conversion.
Yeah, it was a nice call there by Jimbo Fisher. Empty set, linebackers dropped out, and a design quarterback run.
An interesting nugget. Florida State is 7-0 when Christian Ponder has 29 net rushing yards in a game. How about that?
You spend too much time in your room studying stats, my man.
I'm one of those losers. I'll stay in and just grind on this stuff.
29 yards. That's the arbitrary cutoff. Huh?
That's it.
1st and goal. Ponder fires to the far sidelines. Ball caught, but a very quick hit on Taiwan Easterling. Did a little dancing out there, and Searcy closed quickly, so they'll lose yardage.
You know, this is that point now. We've seen Florida State down here a couple of times, and without a running game, just really handcuffs this football team. Got to catch the ball on rhythm and in time for execution again.
And that's an opportunity for him to turn the football up. We talked about these swing passes and screens. That's an extension of the running game in Jimbo Fisher's offense. But the guy's got to execute it. Playmakers in space on the perimeter of the field. Catch it, look it in, tuck it, and get upfield.
Empty backfield for Ponder. 5 receivers. Heels rush 4. Short throw, touchdown. Taiwan Easterling with his 2nd touchdown of the season. And the Noles chipping away. Crucial drive.
And a crucial throw here. You see the arm strength of Ponder. Knows exactly where he's wanting to go with the football. And if that's not a dart, Jesse, it's not getting completed.
Windows become very small and close quickly when you get down in the red zone. Ponder did a nice job dotting his guy.
Yeah, for sure. That's the kind of matchup zone defense everybody's using in the red zone. And it takes a good, strong arm to find that gap. Easterling, the Noles needed desperately to answer. They're back to an 11-point deficit. 6:12 to play in the 3rd quarter. Finally, a touchdown from this offense that came in with such great numbers. And they're off for the North Carolina State Fair over in Raleigh. It's yellow, the lead over red. And they head around the clubhouse turn. Blue trailing the field. You guys want to pick up the call here? Who do you like, Greg? You know more about this than we do.
Well, it seems like the pace car.
Wire to wire. Yellow. The Mayo Jean.
And the duck with the yellow thing around his neck was smart because he took the inside of the track away, so he had the advantage going on those turns.
I'd just like to know what they were running for to get back to in that truck.
Enterprise Rent-A-Car drive recap, a grinding, methodical drive by the Noles there. Now the defense needs to stop. This is Little, who's been so instrumental tonight as a runner and a receiver, makes a nice return. Now 14 plays, 76 yards, took 5:21, but the headline is no penalties for the Noles in that touchdown.
Amazing what happens when you don't have penalties to deal with in a drive. The ball down the middle, Jesse, I thought that was important because it finally went to the middle of the field, throwing the ball down the field.
No question. They did it also in the red zone on that touchdown pass. There were 2 drops on that drive, but it just goes to show you, if you don't make mistakes in terms of penalties and move backwards, good things can still happen.
See what the Heels can do. And the lead trimmed back to 11, which it was at halftime. They handle the end around. This is Johnny White, the little speedster. And he's got a nice gain again, a running game that struggled coming in, finding unconventional ways to pick up chunks. 16 that time.
All right, pay attention here. Let's watch this. Watch this linebacker coming inside. There's nobody. This can't happen. Getting stuck inside. Look at it, the wall. How many times have we watched that
In
tonight?
the days of old at Florida State defense, they would have played those great defensive ends in what's called wide 9 techniques, where they put 2 hands in the ground. You never could break contain on those old defenses.
Where was the containment, someone once said. And they flip it. And once again, getting the corner is Drone, and John Drone inside the 30, and here comes a flag very late in the play. Another big chunk of yardage, about 20, but a hold is going to bring it back. Heels have only had 4 penalties, but they did commit when they cost them a touchdown earlier.
Holding. Offense number 8. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
I mean, forgive Mr. Little because he's had a big night, but he was guilty of the hold.
Offensive coordinator John Shoop has figured something out. Wouldn't you agree, Craig?
Well, it's you know what, inside, lack of pursuit, lack of containment. Left side, Marcus White that time. The holding down the field. Oh yeah, absolutely.
You can't pull him, he said. But listen, until Florida State proves that they can keep contained, John Shoop is going to keep dialing plays up to hit the perimeter.
And because the flag was downfield, it sets up a 1st and 1. Very rare down and distance. Take a shot downfield. And it's the mindset of Yates. I flips it short in traffic. Drone has a first down at the 41. Another flag on this play. Thought they might on 1st and 1 take a shot against this defense.
Pass interference, defense number 12. The ball is placed in the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Nigel Carr guilty of the penalty, and will move the ball just a couple of yards to the 42.
You know, Bobby Bowden has been trying to find ways to motivate the ACC's worst defense in practice. When they're doing well, he'll come over to them and say, hey guys, listen, get excited. You're practicing against the best offense in the conference every day throughout the week. You just got to transfer this over on game day.
Well, somebody like a Dakota Watson who's not playing, that's their leader over there, and he's not out there to influence the huddle and to motivate and remind.
First down, little play action. Yates rolling. Now it takes a shot downfield, but a bad decision. Threw it right into double coverage, and Jamie Robinson has his first interception of the season. A little greedy there.
Absolutely. TJ Yates has really been disciplined to this point in the football game today and knows the score, you know, and down the field. The first thing I noticed, though, they didn't get beat deep, did they, Jesse?
No, they didn't. They had 2 players on Greg Little. You're going to see right there Johnny White coming into your screen. He was running a wheel route down the sidelines, and that's where I thought TJ Yates was going to try to throw that football. He had a chance to make a play, just forcing that one. And the senior, Jamie Robinson, coming up with a big play. Get Florida State the football back.
He's skidded into the end zone, but they'll spot the ball at the 3.
The good news for UNC, that's basically like a punt. But, of course, you'd always rather get points.
And you're giving it back to an offense that just went on a long drive and scored, so not sure they wanted to punt the football or throw it deep for the turnover.
A couple of true freshmen flanking Weatherford, Chris Thompson and Lonnie Pryor. And again, that's the noisy end, the students right behind the Noles quarterback. Time running out, didn't get it off. Again, for the second time tonight, just not awareness of the play clock, and they'll move a yard and a half closer to the goal line.
Delay of game. Offense number 7. Half the distance. Remains first down.
Chris and Craig, just not a lot of sense of urgency tonight from this offense.
Cohesiveness, a unit. They're not together. It's not on the same page. Coaching, plays in, I don't know.
12 penalties, we know that. Ponder gets protection, takes a shot down the field, and has a man wide open. Rod Owens still on his feet. End zone ahead, touchdown, 98 yards.
Now that's how you stay on the same page.
Touchdowns can't get much longer than that. And a defense that's given up very few big plays gives up a huge one there.
You know what? We'll start with the protection in the pocket. Ponder stands there. Defensive back slips, goes down, and follow through on the execution.
It was a double move, a curl and go, just enough to stymie Charles Brown. He lost his balance. Great job keeping the balance by Rod Owens. I can't remember the last time I've seen a 98-yard touchdown pass. It might have been when Chris Wenke hit Snoop Menace back against Clemson in the late 90s. Look at TJ Yates.
Okay, so what does a turnover do to you, right?
They'll go for 2. The margin is 5. Ponder wanting to keep it. Tried to lower the shoulder. He'll be spotted in the end zone. They gave him the 2-point conversion. He got physical. There's a flag down. Ponder just challenging Deontay Williams.
Holding. Offense number 60. 10 yards.
Ouch.
Repeat the try.
It's the center, Ryan McMahon. So instead of being a 3-point game, the decision of whether you kick the point to cut it to 4 or go for it from the 13 now.
For me, I look at it, I say my offense has momentum right now. Old Mo's jumped on my bench. Go ahead and get the points. Don't chase them at this point. And how about the effort, though, by Ponder? If he doesn't give that effort to get in there.
It's a bit of a statement on that play, the physical. But look at this, 98-yard touchdown pass. There it is. Ties the longest ever with Chris Wenke to Snoop Menace. And just like that, Florida State now back in this game. How does their defense respond?
See, Butch is saying challenge the deal.
I don't think he's convinced Ponder got in the end zone there.
Right, if Ponder didn't get in there, then they decline the penalty and it's over.
Is under further review.
I thought he was going to be stopped short, but then he lowered the shoulder and really challenged the safety Williams and see if the knee was down.
A lot of toughness from Christian Ponder here. We saw him injured earlier in the game. He had that sore left elbow. Just a lot of will, power. Trying to drive himself in. You'll see it right here.
Yeah, design play, quarterback draw.
Did his knee hit the ground? He landed on top of Williams and then lunged for the goal line. Hard to tell.
I think you're looking here for the right knee. It's hard to tell right there. David Spurlock kind of blocking.
Conclusive video evidence.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything conclusive there.
And the side judge came running in and signaled a touchdown, or a successful two-point try, I should say. So if he's ruled down, Heels can decline the penalty and it'll stick at 24-19. Won't have an opportunity to kick the PAT.
Florida State, though, has looked so good these last two drives now on offense. And finally, the defense getting a turnover, allowing them the football back to make a big play.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. The holding foul is enforced. We will run the try.
It's a great effort by Ponder. It may have earned his team 1 point instead of 2 if the PAT is successful. And he stopped short and he's sitting in the 24-19 game. So here's the freshman Hopkins. Boots the PAT, not from the center of the field, but off to the left side. And the longest play in Kenan Stadium history has brought Florida State within 4. This week, Saturday Night Football. Most of the nation will see number 3 Texas visiting the Missouri Tigers. Some of you on the West Coast will see the Beavers taking on the Trojans in the Coliseum. Presented by Southwest Airlines, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 on the West Coast. Now, the undefeateds in college football, we're down to just 7 of them. There's still a couple of weekends of games in October. Of course, the Gators and the Tide, many believe in a collision course in Atlanta. Iowa just keeps doing it, but a test at Michigan State this weekend.
How about TCU getting an opportunity now? Everyone's talking about Boise State right now, number 4 in the BCS rankings. TCU's a top 10 team. They're going to play a ranked opponent, BYU. They get Utah later in the season. Very good chance they could be ranked when they play them. They're going to have an opportunity to be that BCS buster as well, I think.
Well, I think they need Boise State to lose if the pollsters continue to be enamored with the Broncos.
I don't see that happening.
Interesting that UTEP went last night thumping the Tulsa team that gave Boise State a tough game last week.
UTEP thumped Houston, right? I mean,
in terms of Boise State, a lot of eyes right now on Oregon.
Yep.
Find out how Oregon ends this season. Now, remember, that's the marquee win for Boise State this season.
And TCU with a couple of road wins against ACC teams. They went to Clemson and won a tight one. Beat Virginia convincingly to open the season. So they'd like the Tigers of Clemson and Cavaliers to keep winning. Pick taken on the fly, and Bobby Rome, the fullback, able to bring it out across the 30-yard line. That's where the Heels will take over. Now flag, couple of them after the play. It's getting chippy out there. Hunter Furr, the running back, involved.
After the play, personal foul, number 40 of the receiving team, 15-yard penalty, first down.
He's getting contagious. That's Butch stomping around over there. The 6th penalty will move the ball back 15 yards.
Yeah, this is just a late bonehead play here.
Oh.
And you know what? This whole game has turned, obviously. Christian Ponder now 21 of 28. 2 touchdowns. You got the hot player on their side over there. You got to be smart as a football team.
Christian Ponder's had a couple drops as well in this game. He's playing lights out, but you're right. Right now, momentum is shifting. Butch Davis's team has to calm down.
He had 14 points yesterday in the last minute and a half.
Wow.
So a 4-point game as Yates, drone behind him, take over. Runs out of time, and he'll be dropped. Kendall Smith, middle linebacker, on the sack. As we check back with Reese.
Chris, SportsCenter right now, Raiders coach Tom Cable will not face charges after being investigated over allegations that he had assaulted one of his assistants. Been hanging over the team for a couple of months. SportsCenter after the game. Stay current with ESPN News. And an update on the ALCS Game 5. Yankees got 6 after falling behind 4-0. A 3-run double from Mark Teixeira, who has 3 hits. Angels trying to stay in the series at 6-5.
Here's thanks. Brown takes a handoff on 2nd and long and fights for a few. What do you say we go to a World Series game, Jesse? The stadium there. You up for that?
We should both do that. New York City is a great place when the Yankees are in the postseason, aren't they? That is a great city. There's such a
great place anyway. But
yeah, but when the Yankees, something special about when the Yankees make the postseason, everybody dials in. We got to go try to hit
don't dial in right now. They're going to make the World Series. That one's in the bank. You don't have to dial in right now. Let's watch the football game, right?
Right. Hey, you mind if I come up with you guys and go to the game?
3rd and 11. Yeah, come on up. All right. 3rd and 11 here. Will the Seminoles get the ball right back? Short completion. Barr in the tight end, but he doesn't get enough. All of a sudden, little energy. Nick Moody tracking down the tight end, and here comes a punt.
A lot of energy. You saw defenders finally starting to attack receivers. They contained. They kept Ponder and they kept Yates back in the backfield. Didn't let him outside.
FSU defensively right now is playing faster. They've been motivated. They got a big interception that led to a big touchdown. They're feeling it right now.
Rally to the football, what the coaches always say. Huh?
Yeah.
There's Shallot and the dangerous Greg Reed back deep. Driving kick, but low enough that Reed will have a play. Drag down, good coverage. Reed so dangerous if he can make the first couple men miss, but they net 50 yards on that punt. LT exhorting that defense, getting into it. He was kind of playing it cool early. Now you see the fire.
It's great to have him back here, though. You know, you were mentioning he hadn't been back in a long time. I think that's great. It's great for LT. Come back to your home. Be a part of it. These fans love him here.
He pulled out all the stops tonight with LT and Julius Peppers on the sidelines. But this defense, which just got toasted for a 98-yard touchdown pass, now protecting just a 4-point lead. Ponder flips it out. Reed picks up about 8. Aaron, what do you have?
Well, I've got Bruce Carter, linebacker, of course, for UNC. He just put his helmet back on, but guys, he's got tears in his eyes. He had his right ankle taped up, and he's just very, very frustrated. I don't know if the training staff is going to let him come back in, but he was pleading his case to the trainers. We'll have to see. Guys, also, Jordan Hemby, we saw him with the injury there on the field. They took him back to the locker room. He is done for the game.
Aaron, thanks. Yeah, the blow to the head. A good thing to be cautious. And Carter, if he can't return, that's a loss. He's a real playmaker and a leader there. They flip it out. Easterling, as flags fly, still on his feet, takes a big shot at the 41. Kevin Reddick, the freshman linebacker, clocked him. And we'll check the marker.
Holding. Offense, number 80. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Second down.
Is that LT getting into it down there? Did we hear his voice?
I think you're hearing the competitive nature of one of the great defenders to ever play football, period. But here's another play. It's another quick swing pass out to Taiwan Easterling.
Yeah.
Extension of the running game.
An obvious hold there.
When a receiver out wide like that stops using their legs, they have to grab the hold. You got to keep on them. Stay on them. Like a bee on honey.
Again, a little short inside screen. It's Easterling. Shakes one tackle, but grabs only 3 before E.J. Wilson grabs him. Aaron?
Chris, you were right. That was Lawrence Taylor pleading his case to the officials. It was holding. And interesting enough, we asked if he could put the headset on and talk to you guys, and he said, my throat hurts. So maybe it's
I heard him loud and clear, Aaron. Aaron, I heard him loud and clear that time. He's able to talk. He's talking okay. We understand he's intense, though. He's wanting to enjoy every second of this. 3rd down and 7, as LT says. Good protection and a strike across the middle for a 1st down to Rod Owens. Heels really haven't gotten to Ponder that much, and they're not blitzing very much.
Well, they're 4. Watch, Chris, right here on this replay. Watch how they do. You're going to see the crossing and all the stunt work that's going on in the middle of the field. How about clear? And they're picking them up. It's a good job by that Florida State offensive line opening up the middle, Jesse.
And it's a nice job by Christian Ponder, remaining patient, stepping up in the pocket a little bit, anticipating the throw to the open area of the field.
Well, that series that featured a holding penalty, that was a big conversion. And Owens now 8 catches for 179. The throw downfield again, and another catch by Owens. He's starting to really kill this Carolina defense. Owens inside the 40, 20 more yards.
The one thing that I've noticed here, that snap, with the time left on the clock, the urgency, it used to be, remember that end of the 2nd quarter, Jesse, they were getting down to 2-1, delay a game. Now it's 15, 16 seconds.
They're hurrying up the tempo. You're absolutely right. And Christian Ponder, had it not been for a couple of drops, guys, he might almost be perfect on the night.
Could be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Thompson breaks free, and the freshman fights for another big gain.
Chris Thompson, number 23 on the
Quinton Copels tackled him, but all of a sudden, this Carolina defense reeling a bit. That 98-yard touchdown pass, turning things around. Noles on the march, down 4 as we head to the 4th quarter. The 4th quarter here in Chapel Hill, the first ever Thursday night game here. These folks were enjoying themselves, but now tension in Kenan Stadium as the Noles down by only 4 after a monster 3rd quarter. They had 236 total offense in the 3rd after just 100 in the 1st half. They hand it off to Thompson. A 1st down as he muscles to the 21-yard line, and Ponder is at 9 in a row. Jesse, he's up to 318.
He's about 80% in this football game, and again, he's had some drops. If you go back to his last 5 games, he's completing 70% of his passes. He's been very efficient this year.
You know what we're seeing here now is a little running game. They were in the minus yardage in the 1st half.
We talked about how they had to get that going. This pistol formation is giving UNC a lot of trouble.
Got to get in a few yards, but it's been Ponder with the passing game. Would you say it's turned this around?
A little bit of a balance.
They hand it off again. Tries to bounce it, but Thompson's drops. A loss as Reddick stopped him.
Point taken, Fowler. All right. Don't get away from what got you in the game.
I would keep throwing the ball.
Yeah. All right, I'm back on the bus with you.
I think one thing we've seen so far this last little while, this UNC defense, little uncharacteristic. Big plays they're giving up. Yeah. Missed tackles.
A little rattled, I think.
Yeah, I mean, things that they preach, things they do such a good job in, week out, falling apart a little bit right now.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Everett Withers change up that 4-man rush and go with 5 or 6. He's got to disrupt Ponder some way.
There's Owens, who's been the big receiver in this game, who goes in motion. Ponder throws back the other direction. And this is Weller for the tight end, able to break a tackle, but he's spun down after a loss. To try to draw the attention to Owens and come back the other way.
Watching that play live, Craig, I thought for sure that was going to be a big gainer. I mean, I thought for sure this thing was going to gash UNC. Watch Quan Sturdivant, number 52, how fast he gets up and makes this play.
Yeah, you just couldn't quite get the guard out there in time to make the block. Rodney Hudson and LT, it's coming. He sees it. He knows it.
I think he wants to jump out there. He wants to become the 11th defender.
Well, they'd love it if he could put some pads on. Get Julius Pepper put some pads on. They could use those 2 guys right now.
Well, okay, then Florida State gets to go get a couple.
Who do they have over there?
Huh?
Everett Brown's here.
That helps.
Ponder on 3rd down, fires over the middle. A low throw is complete. Not 1st down yardage. Burton Reed went down low. Heels thought the ball hit the ground. sure they'll take a look at this.
What a difference a half makes when you slow down, making the penalties and the mistakes, and your receivers step up, making tough catches.
Did he get it?
Looks like he has it there.
Comes under the ball.
That looked good.
Needed 17, though, got only 11. So here comes Hopkins. And had they made that 2-point conversion, which, again, the penalty ruined, this would be for a tie. As it is, Hopkins trying to cut it to a 1-point game. 5 on the play clock. Better hurry here. Nope. No awareness, and now it's going to be a 40-yard field goal.
Delay of game. Offense.
You can call a timeout from the sidelines, can't you? If somebody notices the clock, you can call timeout over there.
There just has to be a sense of urgency on the field. I mean, that's the 3rd or 4th delay of game penalty Florida State has had. Now, I know it's loud. It's not Death Valley at LSU, though. I mean, get up, call the play. Let's go.
Let's see if it costs Hopkins this from 40 yards. He's been accurate tonight. And he is again. So the Heels inching closer. We're down 18. Now it's a 1-point game. The Banana Boys are a little dejected there. They were celebrating when the lead was 18. It's now a single point. What do you think? What is it, 40 grand a year to go to school here? And parents of Tar Heels, money well spent. It's a festive night here. Fall break in full swing, right? No classes tomorrow.
Halloween on the horizon.
Boy, I tell you, there's some tension here now. Both teams so hungry to get their first ACC win. Carolina breathing easy a little while ago. Now try to protect the 1-point lead as Little tries to give him some field position. And guess what? A flag is down on the return. Little stopped short of the 15. A little bit contagious. Knowles 15 penalties. Carolina's had 6. This looks like number 7, and they've been costly as well.
During the return, holding number 80 of the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Barham, the tight end. Now, what do you do if you're John Shoop, who was calling some stuff that was tricky, catching the Knowles off guard early, but now protecting a lead to just 1 point? You got bad field position.
Well, bad field position in the second half to trend North Carolina's offense 84 yards. You got Florida State's put up 250 in this half.
Craig, what has UNC done so well so far in this game? They've broken contain and gotten to the edge.
With trickeration, too, right? With trick plays.
Keep getting those receivers in motion.
They hand it. Johnny White. And that time the wide run doesn't produce much as we check back with Reese.
Chris, every week we honor the ESPN AT&T All-America Player of the Week. This week it is Alabama running back Mark Ingram, who lit up South Carolina for 246 yards and a touchdown in the Crimson Tide's 20-6 win. You can get in on the vote every week. Just text vote to 345-345 on your wireless phone. Not only do you vote for the ESPN AT&T All-America Player of the Week, but you could win a trip to the national championship game.
Reese thanks. Love the way that Ingram runs. Will be challenged by that Kiffin Rocky Top defense on Saturday as Drone runs left and gets the edge. Good call, guys. The wide run that time works, and they move the chains and get out from their shadow of the goalpost.
There's no reason for you to think that it won't work because it has worked so well tonight. One play, make a play. You talk about making a play, Jesse. At some point, Florida State's trying, though. I mean, their defense is moving a lot faster.
They are, and they've been re-energized here over the past couple of drives, but this is what John Shoop, the offensive coordinator at UNC, needs to do. Dial these type plays up, keep the clock going, earn these tough yards.
Knowles on a 17-point run in the second half. Drone in the backfield. Nigel Bradham, who's had at times a tough night with the tackle for loss.
You know, Chris, you alluded to it a moment ago, but Bobby Bowden in this fourth quarter, his team's lost a lot of games late. If they could somehow come back and pull this off, Jesse, I'm telling you, it takes a lot of pressure off Bobby Bowden.
No question it does. And he's been showing them video. He's gone back and taken them through each of the 4 losses and walked them through the end of games. Here's a great opportunity. Fourth quarter. Go make some plays.
Second and 11. They give it to Little. And around, he cuts it back inside, spins and fights up near first down yardage at the 36. The junior has been the best weapon for the Heels.
And again, it's a guy that played running back last year. You could just see how comfortable he is, especially playing inside. You don't often see this, do you, Craig? Guy coming in motion and then cutting it up inside. It's like that midline option play we see from Georgia Tech.
They hand it to Jeremy Boyd, and he busts a big run into Florida State territory. So some up-tempo from Shoop. And the Heels, they rip off 20 more.
Well, Shoop changed his design here in the fourth quarter. You know, they've gone and they've started doing a little reversing, and they moved the ball around. Florida State's defensive line's moving up front and not maintaining responsibility.
And they haven't had a lot of success throwing the football here very recently. And you wonder if John Shoop has just said, okay, look, you know what? We're going to try to beat them up front. Just keep this thing on the ground.
Or lull them to sleep.
And again, a Florida State defense being beaten up with the running game again. They were 93rd against the run coming in. This is Drone. Big haul. Drone into the secondary. Inside the 20. A huge gash in that Noles defense before Jamie Robinson runs him out. A 26-yard gain.
This is a trend that has not stopped. You're going to have to get linebackers out here to get there. Nobody's pursuing. It's unbelievable.
Nice job by the tight end, Ed Barham, getting up to the second level and getting a seal block on that linebacker.
Isn't it something, though, Jesse, when you see linebackers not filling and spilling and getting out there?
So the Noles will take a timeout on defense to regroup. 9-11 in this fourth quarter. 1-point game. More fun of the State Fair, the pot-bellied pig race. You realize, Craig, that the last place pig, that's what Palmer had for dinner last night.
Oh, don't say that.
Wasn't that pork shank?
No, it was Coca-Cola braised shank of pork. It was good.
First down for the Heels. After the timeout, and Drone again. Starts wide, cuts it back. Nice gain of about 5. You guys realize that Carolina has 16 running plays of 15 plus in this game. They had 2 against 1A competition this season coming in.
It talks about that Florida State defense, doesn't it? I mean, the edge has been there all night.
Again, they go up tempo. Quick handoff up the middle. That time they drag Drone down after a short gain. Kendall Smith on the stop. It'll set up third down.
Chris, you were looking back at your notes from John Shoop, and he had some great one-liners about if it's not broken, don't fix it. And
yeah, he run the same play until, you know, the average per carry starts going down. In other words, don't change a winning hand. But they need 5 on this third down. Do you throw it? They haven't thrown a pass on this drive yet.
We're both shaking our heads no.
No, I'd leave it on the ground.
Would you?
Yeah.
In the shotgun.
I'd go outside.
Well, they hand it off. Drone spins, cuts, and dives, but he doesn't have enough. Gets inside the 10. 4th and short. Be a chip shot. And that's what they'll do. Here comes a field goal try.
I think that's the play. You make this thing 27-23, so Florida State needs more than a field goal to come back and tie.
Hey, but again, the weakness of this team has been Florida State's defense. If they can hold them to 3, they give it back to the strength of their football team and give them a chance to go down and score 6.
Barth, 1 of 1 tonight. This from 26 yards. And it's perfect. So the Heels chew a bit of clock, break the 17-0 run, but Ponder and the Noles will go back to work down only 4. Roy Williams in the house, of course. This team coming off the national championship should be ranked somewhere in the preseason top 10. At halftime, the Heels to win, but also felt a lot of compassion, sympathy for Bobby Bowden and what the legend has gone through. Makes a parallel to Dean Smith.
Yeah, no question.
I don't think there's any fan of Florida State's who doesn't love Bobby Bowden.
I don't know if there's very many fans aside from Florida State that don't love Bobby Bowden.
Even the Gator fans?
No, I mean, Bobby Bowden is one of the great men and great people in all of college football.
It's a short kickoff. Givens shows his explosive speed and gets out near the 40. Speaking of the mighty Gators, they're headed off to Starkville. Cowbells ringing as Florida tries to get the offense going against Mississippi State.
Mississippi State's been better on the road than they have been at home, right?
Now they came close to beating LSU at home there.
Yeah, they
really should have beaten them.
Should have beaten them.
You know, Florida right now has yet to prove, in my mind, that they can throw the football to win games. At some point down the stretch, Florida's going to have to throw to win.
Florida State's going to have to throw to win this game tonight. Ponder takes over. They fake it to Thompson. Throw down the middle. Has a man wide open. Fortson inside the 30. What a way to start that drive.
And it's really the linebacker level. Once they see the ball going down the middle, Jesse, they haven't turned to get back. There's that big hole in the middle of this defense and just coming inside. Nice job of Fortson.
It's a nice play call by Jimbo Fisher on that stack release. It allowed Fortson clear access, and he just used that speed to get down the middle of the field. Nice touch on the throw also.
Ponder approaching 400 yards. He's hit 12 in a row. A flag before the play as the Heels jumped into the neutral zone, and still that Florida State offensive line down in their stance. What is? They got him again. That's just funny looking. The other 6 guys are running around.
The discipline is amazing, and Christian Ponder, after the play, runs right over, taps them all in the head.
What is that, like the green button?
Good job, guys. Yeah,
go now. You can go now. You can release them.
Unfreeze.
Simon says it's okay to go.
That's right.
Like 5 big old dogs sit and stay.
But you know what? Think about it. An offensive lineman doesn't need much to give him a chance to sit there and take a break, right?
Good point. Taking officials timeout here. There's another look.
Defensive end jumps offside. That triggers the offensive line to just freeze. They don't even move. And that's just a simple rollout to the left. He's got a hitch route on the outside. It's a 5-yard stop. Easy completion.
What point are they trying to prove, though, by staying there?
Hey, I'm telling you, they're taking a break. Hey, you come on back and let me know when it's over.
But you don't have to stay down like that.
It's the principle, Fowler.
Okay.
It's what Rick Trick is teaching these guys to do.
Discipline, right?
That's
Discipline?
right. He was a Marine. Do what he says.
I understand. He came from West Virginia, known as a tough and very good offensive line coach.
Offsides on the defense is declined. Brings up second down.
We'll take the gain on the play instead of the penalty.
What we are watching here, North Carolina's defense. Look, they're sitting still. They're not aggressive. They're not flying around and playing that SEC speed that you mentioned earlier in this football game.
You know, I think the 3 of us were curious to see how they would do against the first real good passing offense they'd face.
In the pass rush, they've tried to get away with rushing 4. Haven't really gotten at Ponder that much. Only a couple of sacks. He sneaks it ahead for the first down. I think if you told Jimbo Fisher you're going to give up 2 sacks for 10 yards, he'd have taken that in a heartbeat against this defense.
No question about it.
And if he'd have heard that he was going to be 30 of 37 from his quarterback in a football game with a few drops.
It should have been better, but Jimbo Fisher raves about this guy, Christian Ponder. You have to understand, every play Christian Ponder comes to the line, he's given 2 or 3 possibilities. He checks this football team into the best play each and every snap.
2 true freshmen flanking Ponder in the backfield. Pump fake. Fires to a wide open man and a touchdown. Uh-oh, Bo Relaford, that tight end, left alone. And the Noles take the lead.
Bo Relaford, it looks like he ran a wheel route. That wasn't even a wheel route. It was so late developing, Ponder stepping up in the pocket, that Relaford turned it into a wheel route.
Did you see the eye discipline again and the pump fake, making everybody squeeze to the middle of the field, allowing his tight end wide open access?
Somebody busted an assignment, and a huge comeback from Florida State. from 18 points down. At one point in this second half, Florida State has the lead with 6:20 to play.
You know,
Relaford, he's filling in. Kaz Porowski, the fine tight end, is out injured. And Relaford, not known as that productive receiver. They left him alone there.
But you know what? We talked about this. At some point, players have to make plays on the field. Coaches can only do so much, and the players have to take over, and they've done that in the second half.
The offense has responded. The defense has also responded here in the fourth quarter as well. All of a sudden, this team's showing a little more swagger on the road, trying to get their first conference win. Christian Ponder now, he's the first quarterback, the 3 straight 300-yard games since Chris Ricks did it back in 2001.
Relaford, a talented guy. They think he's got a big future. He was an MVP of the state basketball tournament down there at Florida. A guy that has a 36-inch vertical, so he's an athlete to watch in the future for Bowden. What would it mean to come off the canvas after an embarrassing first half and win a road game? Snap that skid. They're still alive. In the Atlantic Division of the ACC, where all the powers on the other side of things, they can win out and somehow win this division. They got to go to Clemson, but this comeback tonight would be huge. Deep kick and some confusion. They hand it off to Johnny White. And White weaving his way out near the 30. Tale of two halves. Christian Ponder was hammered a bit, pressured in the first half, the fumble that set up a touchdown, but boy, he turned it on after halftime.
You noticed right there what you saw was the defensive line in his face in that first half. That defensive line's not been in his face the second half.
No, they've moved the pocket a little bit more. He's shown great patience throwing the football. I think the biggest difference in the first half, a lot of throws horizontally. In the second half, they've now started pushing the football downfield, Craig. Getting to that middle area of the field that we were talking was so wide open early.
The 98-yarder to Owens is what turned this game around. It his last 14. So now the Heels try to get the running game going with Johnny White, and White finds a crease. And the offenses are taking control here. The Heels with the running game, the Noles throwing the ball.
Not sure what you might want to think about Mickey Andrews, but maybe just put somebody out there and just tell them, make sure it stays inside. Florida State's defense has lost containment time and time again tonight against the run.
22 more yards for White. Receivers have made some big runs tonight to complement the 100-yard game from Drone. This is Drone. About 4 tough yards.
You know, Jesse, though, that Mickey Andrews, he's told those guys you got to contain.
No, he's trying. Mickey Andrews will go down as one of the greatest defensive coordinators ever in college football. This is frustrating for him. He told us it used to be fun back in the 90s, letting 4 guys go out, rush the passer, and just sit back and enjoy how dominant they could be. It's not like that anymore.
Not by a long shot. Maybe last team with the ball wins. Carolina trying to be patient. Play clock running down. They fake it to Drone, and Yates takes a shot into traffic and almost picked off. There were 2 Noles converging. It was Robinson and Bradham. Yates took a risk.
That's maybe why we haven't seen so many pass plays now here called the last few series. The last thing you can do if you're TJ Yates is turn this over. They've been running these underneath crossing routes all day, Craig, but Florida State now hanging on.
You see Bradham and that secondary starting to figure out the crossing routes, the little rubs.
Did Bradham tip the ball out of Robinson's hand? He might have gotten a hand on that, disrupting the teammates' attempted interception. 3rd and 7. Yates pressure, delivers, but nothing doing. After the catch, Little stopped immediately. It'll be 4th down.
Now here's the question. Do you go for it if you're Butch Davis, considering what Florida State has been doing to you now recently on offense?
He's going to punt it. He's going to punt.
With 4:40 to go in the game, though, I think you do. You punt it down there, and you got to depend on your great defense. Lars Taylor needs to go over and give them all a high five run on that football field.
Crowd always wants the coach to go for it. There was some boos there.
UNC was running the football so well on that drive. They would have loved to have run it right down the field, scored late, not give Florida State the football back, but...
Here's Shallen. High kick. Too long. And now the crowd boos again the decision. They don't net that much. Nolan will take over at the 20. Again, the chase, NASCAR halfway point. Coming down to it here as Jimmy Johnson tries to close in on a 4th straight Cup title. They're in Martinsville on Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern time on ABC.
Jimmy Johnson and Cale Yarborough, the only 2 drivers in NASCAR history ever to win 3 consecutive titles. It's unbelievable.
What was the car number of Cale Yarborough?
10?
That back in your day, did you?
I followed Cale Yarborough, absolutely. Your day was my day too, homeboy.
Ponder, a first down throw as they protect the lead, and they flip it out to Burt Reed. Knowles close it down quickly.
Burt Reed, very heads-up play right there, staying in bounds.
Jimbo Fisher yelling about something over there.
Right, telling him on point where he's supposed to be on marking that ball. But an interesting call, too. You know, to take a chance at clock stopping with an incompleted pass.
Rod Owens, the senior out of Jacksonville. You know, solid, versatile receiver. He made the monster play. He's been the main weapon. Catching the underneath stuff, yards after the catch. Holding on in traffic. It was a big 98-yarder that turned it around.
We had talked about it coming into the game. They had 5 different receivers with at least 15 catches. You never know week in, week out which guy is going to be the dominant receiver. Today, it was Rod Owens, both short and long. No bigger play than this one right here.
He needs 1 more yard for a 200-yard game. And he did it against the defense that was rated #1 against the pass coming in.
It's easy
they won't be at the top of the rankings after this game.
No, well, with a 98-yarder, it's easy to get to 200. A lot easier.
Nothing looked easy for a while, but some good adjustments and some great quarterbacking by Ponder in the second half. Clock at 4 minutes. 2nd and 6.
There you go. That's the guy that's got to step up. Somebody on that D line.
They rush 3, drop 8, completion, and fighting for first down yardage is Burt Reed. He's just a bit short. Interesting here, they're not going to run the ball and sit in the clock. Not much trust for this defense. Fisher wants to be aggressive with the ball.
We just talked about Burt Reed doing a good job staying in bounds. Now, why on that play would you go out of bounds and stop the clock? You have the lead.
Stopped it momentarily. They'll wind it now. It's 3rd and very short. The whole stadium expecting a quarterback sneak here. And they hit Ponder. I don't think so. Juan Sturdivant. It was a predictable call. They weren't going to hand it to the slight Thompson. Where will they spot it? Needs to get right into the 30-yard line, right on the 30. I see a spot short of that.
Christian Ponder trying to run the sneak again behind his best offensive lineman, left guard Rodney Hudson. UNC, though, had a great surge coming off that football.
Well, and they had a great disciplined surge. Well,
that's a generous spot, I think. Yeah. Which Davis didn't love it, but it is a first down.
Yeah, you know what? You've got the dime and the pinch on the inside by your 2 defensive tackles, and then you got the discipline on the outside. The ball.
Oh, he stuck it out there.
He did.
Yeah. Nice job. Risky, but nice.
Yes.
Risky because it's not like the play stops when you, not like the goal line, right?
Yeah.
The ball's not dead when you reach it across the plane at the
that's
first
right.
down.
Ball security is at a premium. You're going to watch Florida State now offensively milk this play clock as much as they can without getting delay of game penalties like they have been.
You saw Butch Davis there, and we talked about it early in the first quarter, his intensity in pregame. He understood the importance of this football game, the opportunity.
He understands how tough it could be to blow an 18-point lead and lose it. And first down, we'll hand it. And there's a loss. See if the Heels spend their timeout. They do. Davis has 1 more to work with. 3 minutes exactly to go.
Now here's the thing. I mean, UNC has not been very dominant tonight throwing the football on offense. If, in fact, they are able to get this football back, you imagine without any timeouts left, they're going to be in a passing mode in 2-minute offense. Do they have the juice and the playmakers to get it done?
Absolutely they do. Absolutely they do. But you know what? Maybe that's what they need, because in the second half, they have fallen apart offensively. It's been all Florida State, so maybe the sense of urgency gets TJ Yates up and going.
I think Jesse makes a good point. You got 86 passing yards all night.
Well,
you got a bunch of freshmen out there playing receiver.
And a big one of those passing plays came on a trick play thrown by the fullback to Greg Little. This has to be conventional hurry-up offense without timeouts. I don't know if they can do it.
That's a great point. Bobby Rome's pass for 31 yards. Yates just 55 yards on those 10 completions.
He has no choice. He has to come out and throw the football if they get it back, and they're going to have to step up and make some plays.
Ponder in the gun on 2nd and 10. Quarterback keeps it. Christian Ponder smashes forward for a first down over the 40. 12 clutch yards from the quarterback, and he knows what it means.
Jimbo Fisher was telling us in pregame that his shuttle time is 3.97. So even if it's a little quick here and it's a 4-1, I promise you in a shuttle time, so that's moving.
It's the fastest shuttle time on this football team.
Yeah, so whatever it is,
3.97. I think he's a quarterback.
Yeah.
He was a good passing quarterback.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I mean,
people don't give him credit for being as good of an athlete as he is.
Yeah, and that was a very good call, by the way, by Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah, he'll play on Sunday for sure, in your mind?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely no question.
They hand it off. This is a true freshman. Ball security crucial at this point as the Heels spend their final timeout. On Saturday night, most of the country will see Big 12 showdown, Texas and Missouri. Longhorns Colt McCoy says that thumb is okay. Gabbert playing on an ankle that's not 100%. He says he's good to go. West Coast will get Oregon State visiting USC.
Craig, you're going to call that USC-Oregon State game. We all called the upset last year when they went up to Corvallis and USC lost. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking this week?
Well, Quiz Rogers, he's still a good runner. He's got his brother James Rogers. They're doing the same type of things. Is Oregon State's offensive line good enough to run the ball like they did last year during that upset that we called? That's kind of the question for the football game.
I'll bet you that Pete Carroll will not get beat by that same wrinkle that got him time after time after time. That little
vanilla wrinkle?
Or that little one Rogers brother in motion and then handed to Quiz up the middle.
That was it, basic.
You know what I was amazed by last year, and I think we could all agree, we talked to those Oregon State players the day before the game. They were not at all intimidated by USC. That was really, really impressive.
And USC had to go across the country and play Notre Dame too, right?
The game's not in Corvallis, is it? This time out to Coliseum. Let's see. Heels are now out of timeout, so if Florida State can get one more first down, they should be able to run it out. 2nd and 7. The keeper, Ponder, dragged down after just a yard. 3rd and 6.
This is a difficult situation to stop if you're Everett Withers, because conventional wisdom says, well, they're going to run the football to try to milk the clock. But, you know, Florida State has a lot of those perimeter passes that act like run plays. There's a lot of possibilities here to defend.
And the fact that he sat there and watched Jimbo Fisher call a pass on 1st and 2nd down at the beginning of the series. So he knows he's not afraid to throw the football.
Well, let's see what they do. A completion for a first down just about ends a huge comeback. And a very, very important win for Bowden and the Noles. Keeps it again. This time they're all over Ponder. No way E.J. Wilson was going to let him slip for a first down that time. So the Noles will punt. Carolina will have a long way to go. No timeouts. Try to get a field goal through and tie this thing.
You assume UNC is going to try to come after this punt right here. Try to get a big block, but they're not going to have very much time to work with deep in their own zone. If they cannot get a big return here, they have no timeouts.
Looks like Bobby telling his guys they probably should just take a timeout, right, and punt it. Instead, they're hurrying. I don't know why you want to hurry this. Get the punt away. Not very deep. Good coverage. So 47 seconds. Tar Heels needing to march and perhaps about 50 yards. 47 seconds. Set up a makeable field goal try for Barth, whose career long is 42. Been an entertaining game. All Carolina in the first half. Bunch of penalties, very sloppy first 30 minutes, but the Noles have caught fire after halftime. Ripped off 17 unanswered. Heels kicked a field goal to go back up by 4, but Ponder getting a touchdown pass just a few minutes ago to make it 30-27. Yates has lots of time. Runs out of time and has to throw it away. He had 2 deep receivers, but nobody underneath.
He couldn't set up to throw the ball deep, though. And the 4-man rush with the crossing up front by the defensive tackles forced him out of the pocket and didn't let him look down the field.
No question about it. Now, just a reminder, what Chris just said, Casey Barth's career long is 42, so that means UNC needs to get to the 25-yard line to match Casey Barth's career long. That's a long way away.
Especially since they've had so much trouble throwing the ball tonight. Yates flushed again, fires short. He does get out of bounds, but a very short gain. Christian Wilson, the tight end, picked up just 3. Play took 8 seconds. Not really helpful.
Fellas, in the first half, it was North Carolina's defensive line in the backfield causing problems. Now in the fourth quarter, we're seeing Florida State's defensive line get it done.
They're pinning their ears back. It's starting to look a little bit more like what we've been used to all those years. Dominant play up front.
No, they still don't know how to contain anybody on a run, but they're getting after the quarterback.
3rd and 8. Regardless of down and distance, with the time left, the Heels have got to take a shot downfield at this point. Instead, they dump it short. Drone fighting near the first set, didn't get it. He's out of bounds, and now just 26 ticks left, and it'll be 4th down.
Yeah, you heard that over. I don't know if you could hear it over the microphone like we did. You got to get the first down.
No, they didn't. I think you got to throw it downfield.
Well, I think what he's saying right now is it's important. We need to get this first, no matter where we catch it, whether it's over the middle of the field or whether it's at the sidelines. Right now in offense, you're thinking completion or run the ball and clock it.
And they run play action, fools no one, and Yates cuts it back. It's very near first down yardage. They'll stop the clock with 20. He got it, but again, they're burning a bunch of time here. Questionable clock management. Clock restarts. They've taken all this time and they've moved only about 12 yards closer to a field goal attempt. Now you got to pretty much throw a Hail Mary down there.
Yeah, I think you got to throw it to the middle of the field. You got to throw a ball that's in the 15 range down to the middle of the field, then hustle up to the field, clock it.
I don't know if you have enough time though.
Yeah,
honestly,
you have to throw it past the first down marker each and every time, or hit a guy in stride, allow him to run and go get yardage. But that's the question right now. Is this passing game developed enough? Are there enough playmakers to go get these first downs?
Another short throw. Ruled incomplete. That ball bounced up into the hands of Patrick Robinson, off the hands of Drone. It did hit the ground. This would be a crushing loss for a team that, like FSU, was winless in the ACC but had a big lead on its home field. The crowd geeked up. Here's another look. But barring now a miracle completion,
ooh, dang.
Did that ball hit the ground?
I don't know that it hit the ground.
I don't know. Let's see that again. Doesn't look like it did from there.
I didn't think so live. Drone got his hands underneath the ball, popped it up, and Patrick Robinson was there to scoop it up. That should have been a pick six.
You know what?
The previous play is under further review.
We're going to review this.
This could be the end of the game right here.
Now, they blew a whistle when Robinson was running with the ball,
yeah,
which complicates things on this review. And Jimbo Fisher, the coach in waiting, all smiles. There's Bowden and Chuck Amato. Again, despite all their troubles, despite the losing streak coming in, still alive in the ACC. Here's another look. It's tough to tell from that far away, but I think that ball popped up into the hands of Patrick Robinson.
Now, it was ruled incomplete, But from that angle right there, it does not look like it touches the ground. That's an interception.
We have one other view we've seen where you could, I thought you could clearly
right away see the whistle and the incomplete signal.
Yeah, watch this. Oh, that ball, that did not hit the ground.
Well, it's pretty conclusive from that angle right there.
Yeah.
Oh, great job.
Yeah.
Patrick Robinson playing on a bum ankle right there to scoop it up. But again, there was a whistle and an incompletion signal after the interception.
Right.
Somebody stopped pursuing Robinson. But back to the story of this comeback here. I mean, to play so poorly and be so sloppy in the first half and fall down by 18, and then in the second half to score 24 on 338 yards of offense and buckle down on defense.
And not just that, but in a bigger picture, 4 losses on the season for Florida State. And again, they lost those games late. Big plays that did not go their way. Well, tonight, they reversed that fortune. They made the plays they needed to make.
And Bobby Bowden stressed, or at least he's tried to stress, look, we're only at the halfway point in the season. Don't force me to make a call on my career right now.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Incomplete pass.
I don't know about that, guys. Come on.
Wow, wow.
I'll take one more look. Is this conclusive, this video evidence?
This is the best angle to see it from. It looks like he gets his fingers and hands underneath the ball. Some grass comes up, but I think that's from his fingers.
It is.
That's not from the ball.
Yeah.
All right, so from the 31 with 13 seconds and no timeouts, they'll have to take a shot downfield, won't they? Yates rolls out, fires over the head. 6 seconds, just one more play.
Well, back at 18 seconds, that's why I said I would have thrown the ball down the middle, 15 yards or so, and clocked it.
Personal foul, roughing the passer.
Oh, no.
93 defense.
Everett
15-yard
Dawkins.
penalty. Automatic first down.
Well, no punctuation. That's penalty number 16. Oh, that is inexcusable. Right on the Carolina sideline. It moves him closer. And, you know, Yates doesn't have the strongest arm, Jesse, but, you know, now the end zone 53 yards away.
Well,
I don't think they have time to throw it down there and kick a field goal. It's going to have to be a touchdown on this play.
This is going to have to either be a bang-bang sideline play, trying to get the football on the boundary somewhere near the 35, but that's pushing it. There's only 6 seconds left.
Yates steps up, fires. It's out of bounds, and with 1 second to go, the clock stops. Even if that ball was caught, that's not in field goal range. Poor clock management at the start of this possession really put him behind the 8 ball.
I just don't see why, and they're lucky that there's 1 second. You know, here at home, that's a quick finger, and so you got them at the middle of the field. You got to throw the football down deep. You know, you get a little protection, and at the end of the day, you got to get lucky on a play like this.
Knowles, the 3 down linemen, 8 men in the backfield. Final play of the game. And they sack him with 3 men. Marcus White finally has a sack in 2009, and it closes out a huge comeback for Florida State. They get off the canvas and get on the win column in the ACC.
This is a bigger win than just winning a conference game.
So you've got Florida State now 15-1-1 against North Carolina.
And 3-4 on the season, 1-3 in the league. Any mystery about our Wrangler 5-star player of the game? Ponder career high.
Again, people talk about Tim Tebow and they talk about Colt McCoy and a lot of other good quarterbacks, but he's a guy that's playing just as well as anybody else out there.
Given the circumstances, one of the sweetest rallies for Bobby Bowden. He's down with Aaron Andrews.
Chris, thanks. Coach, your team's down by 18 points. What does this comeback mean to you after the week you've been through?
It means everything, Aaron. The first 2.5 quarters is the worst I have seen Florida State play maybe since I've been there. We look like the worst football team in the country. You know what? But the kids, thank goodness, never gave up, came back and made plays to win.
You told us these last 3 losses, your team has managed to lose them late in the game. What changed tonight?
Well, we finally won a 4th quarter. You know, my formula has always been, there's some you're going to win no matter what, there's some you're going to lose no matter what. but you've got to win the close games to have a good year. We finally won a close game.
Go enjoy it, Coach. Thanks.
Thank you, honey. Thank you.
Who knows if it'll be a good year, but it's a good start toward a comeback. Bowden and the Noles roar back and win it by 3. SportsCenter's coming up next with Linda Cohn and Scott Van Pelt. We're over on ESPN News for Postgame Extra. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Craig, Jesse, and Aaron, and our entire team here in Chapel Hill, I'm Chris Fowler. Noles win it by a field goal.